Welcome back, Wagoneers, to another exciting episode of the Wasted Wagons podcast. Here we have Biff, Sean, Todd, Pat, and myself. I'm Travis. It's been a few weeks since we podded, so I've missed you guys. So we do have a good bit to talk about, and I think the main one is going to be the NFL draft that recently passed. I probably have a lot of talking points for that, not only with the Saints, but some of the storylines that popped up afterwards or during. But before we actually jump into that, we actually have our good friends from Tullamore Dew are going to supply us with a shot, and this is actually their honey whiskey. And my wife Heather is big into honey whiskey, so she's a Wild Turkey fan. But every time one hits the market, or every time I find a different one, I'd like to bring it home and try it. So we're going to do that and sample Tullamore Dew honey, and let me know what y'all think. So bottoms up, fellas.
See you at the bottom.
Cheers.
Smooth.
It's light. It's floral. Honey-y. Yeah.
Honey. Well, it's honey.
It's pretty good because I'm a big fan of Tullamore Dew just on the rocks, and it's definitely got more bite than this. I mean, this is smoother, it's lighter.
Maybe 3.8 hearts.
Is Tully the one with the ad that says these pants are going to shit themselves? Is that them, or is that something else?
I don't think
Someone
that's the
else, not
official.
Did they air that on TV?
No, I saw it's on the wall at Carrollton Station.
Oh.
I've seen it online too, but like Dylan's like, oh yeah, that's on the bathroom wall. I don't know if it's Tully or something, another liqueur.
I'll go for 4.25 hearts out of 5. Yeah. It's good.
Yeah, it's good.
How much?
4.25.
Yeah.
I'll give it a flat 4.0.
Yeah, I'll say 4.3 out of 5. It's pretty good.
4.2.
Okay.
I would say that would be great in a glass with ice.
Oh, yeah.
Sitting by the pool pre-draft.
Pre-draft.
Yeah.
By the way, I think this year, since you mentioned that, we really do need to set up a table on the deck and do a pre-pool party draft pod.
And then the loser of whatever game we play gets to get dunked into the pool repeatedly.
That's okay.
If he drowns, he drowns.
Bathing suits ready.
Or optional.
Pounding at the pool never actually happened, though. So I mean,
Well, for reasons, yeah. There's liability involved.
So look, I'll say that we keep honey whiskey stocked at our house pretty regularly, and the usual go-to is Wild Turkey honey. This is probably the third one I've had, and I'll rank them in that order. I still like Wild Turkey the best of the three that I've had, but I think this is a close second. Again, like it's not overly sweet, but it's sweet enough to go down pretty light. Now the third one I had was Jack Daniel's honey, and that one to me was just like way overly sweet. Like you could just taste the sugar, going down.
So wait, which one was your favorite?
Wild Turkey honey. I mean that one is at our house year round. So
yeah. How many hearts?
I gave this one a 4.0, so I'll give Wild Turkey a 4.4.
I think that was Heather's 40th. I may have bought the American honey bottle for her.
Probably so.
I remember giving it as a gift. So
they go quick. They go quick in our house because we usually will drink whiskey or bourbon at least once a week usually, and that's her year round go to. So
yeah, there's a couple other Tullys that we could probably try. There's like an island rum one.
Yeah, the Caribbean rum.
Caribbean rum
is my favorite. I think I have that on the buffet in my dining room right now.
The buffet.
The buffet, yeah.
The buffet.
You have like a buffet of Tully or
it's like it's a piece of furniture.
Oh, okay.
And it's got like a wine rack in it, and it's where I have my whiskey set on top of it.
And he's got that alien head vodka. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we should do shots of that next time.
We did that before.
Yeah.
But
was that before we started recording though, or just
probably so? And he doesn't drink too much. I guess he's not really much of a vodka drinker, so it's still sitting there. That just probably since the last time we took shots of it.
Vodka.
I found out what liquor it was. It's Malort.
oh
Yeah.
oh that stuff will clear you out, and it's also disgusting.
So, what was their slogan?
These pants won't shit themselves.
There you go.
That's fitting for them.
Okay.
So they're on brand then.
I mean, have y'all ever had Malort?
No.
I've heard of it now that he's
disgusting.
saying that.
That's why I was very surprised. I thought I confused the two. And I was like, Malort has a honey? Like, in my head, for Tully, but I
Ha-
got them mixed up.
I mean, have you ever had Rogue Dead Guy Ale beer?
Yes.
Oh, you're a fan of it?
No.
Okay, then you're not going to like Malort either because it's the same sort of taste, just in a liqueur form.
So I've seen the Rogue Dead Guy, but I've actually never tried it.
Russell loves it, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't understand how. Like, everyone's palate and taste is different. I get it, but there's no palate explanation for that shit.
Well, how do y'all feel about Ghost in the Machine?
Love it.
Okay, because I was gonna say because there's some people that's very polarizing too. Some people absolutely love it. Other people are like, ew, like they won't even touch it.
Russell loves that one too.
Yeah.
That was in, but Rogue, that Dead Guy's Ale was in Russell's top 5 favorite beers, wasn't it?
think
I think
so.
so. Yeah.
I bless his heart, Russell. You're not here to defend yourself, but you have shit taste.
How's his bourbon taste? Is it growing?
I mean, we like the Space Dust over here, which is a straight up IPA. So you know,
And like, I'm not an IPA guy, but I enjoy Ghost in the Machine though, and it's
Yeah.
very IPA.
it's in between. It's not like I love it or hate it, but I just know it's one of those that's very polarizing. Some people just loathe it. You know, like how can y'all drink that shit? It's like fucking piss.
Well, yes, you have an acquired taste for things.
And it's like go back to your Michelob Ultra.
Hey, what's wrong with Michelob Ultra?
I'm just saying, usually the people hating on like an IPA or drinking like a Bud Light or something.
I mean, Jessica's aunt got married yesterday, and the options at the wedding were either Michelob Ultra or Bud Light. So I went with the Ultra.
Hey, with the Mickeys.
wisely.
The classy choice.
I mean, I'm at least 5 ultras deep in right now, so let's just keep the train going.
So you might have about 5% alcohol in you.
They could have brought some PBR over to the wedding, you know.
I mean, I'm drinking Corona Premier. I mean, this is like what 3.4% alcohol or something. It's like barely any alcohol in this.
Yeah, I
thing.
saw
Oh, they are 4%. Excuse me.
a picture of a guy at a bar that said putting the Mick Ultra water to the test, and it had like a whole tower. He was watching a game, and he had like a tower of like Ultra cans. Some dude my size, like big old dude, and he's like just drinking them. And I was like, dude, that's insane.
He was staying hydrated.
Yeah.
Hey, Ultra has 4.2% alcohol, so it's in line with any standard.
I think I'm
Pilsner
thinking of
or
the
beer.
the Ultra Gold. The Ultra Gold is like 3.2% alcohol, so it's like that's just like why don't you just drink non-alcoholic? But
Well, wait a minute. That's a great segue into something we haven't done in a long time. Biff, what are you drinking?
You gotta shout me out first.
I gotta open
Because
mine.
you were the first person to look at.
All right.
Sorry.
What you got,
Me
babe?
and a bad team.
No, you want me to go first?
No, I'll go first. I'll go first. No,
No, I'll go first.
I'll go first. No,
Someone.
All right. I'm drinking a Crescent 9 CBD seltzer.
Sean.
CBD.
It has CBD in it.
Oh, okay. I thought it was just THC. I don't know all the acronyms.
ABC, THC.
LBGTQ seltzer.
Oh, hey.
Hey, Sean.
Plus minus. I don't know. Fuck.
Sean, what are you drinking?
I'm pre-gaming for our Mexican beer tasting by drinking Corona Premier, the ultra comparative whatever to Corona's brand version of pea water. So, I can't hate on anything.
Todd.
I'm drinking my go-to, the Urban South Lime Cucumber Goes in my cool Wasted Wagons koozie.
Wasted Wagons koozies will be available on that website pretty soon. Mike, how is that coming?
For $26.99 a pop. No.
Mike, talk to us. Mike, where you at? I don't know. We'll put it.
Oh, there he is. There he is.
Hey.
How's the website coming, Mike? Oh, okay. Sounds like it's coming along. All right.
Oh, man.
You can buy it from the Wasted Wagons bookstore.
Merchandising.
As mentioned earlier, I'm drinking one of Todd's Mick Ultras that he had left over from a wedding. Travis?
I'm drinking St. Arnold's Fancy Lawnmower. I believe this one made my top 5 on the top 5 beer segment. If you have not listened to the, in no particular order, top 5 beers, please go do yourself a favor. But St. Arnold's Fancy Lawnmower is in mine.
Yeah, listen to the episode and tell us how right or wrong we were with our choices, and then tell us what your top 5 are so we can make fun of your top 5 list.
Exactly.
That's right.
All right, without any further ado, let's jump into the NFL draft. Let's go ahead and start with, I know there's one big storyline from the draft, but we're going to skip that for right now. We'll get to that in a second.
Question.
Yep.
Should we table the draft to the end, since we probably have more to talk about with that than anything else? Or you just want to just dive into it?
Let's dive into it.
All right, let's go.
All right, so let's start with the Saints. How do you guys feel like our New Orleans Saints did in the draft?
I wasn't as upset as everybody else seemed to be. I mean, I feel like we hit on a lot of our needs. The quarterback thing, and that Shuck, is that how you say his name?
Chuck.
Shuck
Say Shug.
Shug?
No, not
It
Shug.
looks like show, but they were saying shuck.
Not Shug Knight.
Yeah, Shug Knight at quarterback.
I mean, when we got him in the second round, I was wondering if that was kind of a reach because
I felt like it. That was.
I mean, it's kind of a big jump.
I'll go when I speak.
But I feel like regardless of what you think about the quarterback pick, I feel like we hit on a lot of our needs. I really think the running back from Kansas that we got, Neal, was probably going to be a value pick. I think he's going to be a steal.
What round was that?
Six.
Yeah.
And he look.
Did you see his numbers for Kansas?
His numbers are nuts. He set every record and rushing record they had.
And I know Kansas isn't like a powerhouse that you see on TV very often, but the game that I did see him, he stood out. This was before the Saints drafted him. I remember watching the game with him and just kind of seeing him as one of the players that really stood out in that game. So to get a guy like that in the sixth round, especially when you already know Kamara is going to be your starter, but to have a nice solid backup with him, and maybe it was kind of like a message to Miller saying like, hey,
I think Kentre Miller's our number 2 right now, and he's kind of shown you, although when he plays, he looks great, but he's hurt all the time.
Big question is when he plays.
When he plays.
That goes for Marcus Davenport or anybody else that was always hurt. It's like, oh, wow, they have such talent. It's like, yeah, when they're on the field.
Ron Armstead.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, my thing is that the only problem I had in the draft was, for the Saints anyway, was the quarterback pick. I feel like that was too early. I think he would have, if they wanted him, I think they could have got other people in place of him, and he still would have been around in the next guy. I don't know if people were gunning for him. I didn't hear any talk about him before this.
Supposedly, like a couple days before the draft, he started like skyrocketing up the draft board. So
I can't say I followed it very closely to know, but I was kind of surprised by that pick. I ain't gonna lie. So
yeah, pretty much most people's consensus was that we had pick 71. That dude would have been around at 71. That we didn't have to take him that early.
Yeah. Look, I probably said this leading up into the draft. I walked away from it feeling pretty good about the overall draft in general for the Saints. But then, my logic on that is because we had so many needs that I really don't think we could miss. So the pick with Banks, I think it was safe. I think now, the big question mark on the line is now they're going to probably move Penning to guard. Can Penning play guard? Because, he's been overall pretty shitty, since we drafted him. But I think the guard position may be a little bit easier than the tackle position. Sean's an offensive lineman, so I don't know. He was an offensive lineman. I don't know if he'll argue that or not. But
supposedly they didn't pick up Penning's option for anotno year, right? So
it's
basically like shit
year
off the
option.
pot now.
But yeah, so if he doesn't have a good year, they can release him. If he does, they can re-sign him. But no, I thought that was a very safe pick. I think a lot of people were saying after the draft after Campbell got drafted from LSU that Banks may have been better than Campbell. So we actually made out well with that.
I think he said he was starting since he was a freshman, right?
Yeah, and he had like all kind of awards as an offensive tackle. So between him and Fuaga, and you already have McCoy and Ruiz, your line is looking, if they can stay healthy, health is the big thing. The line is looking pretty solid. And I know Shuck has been getting a lot of criticism, but I think the overall plan is that if Derek Carr does choose to sit out the year, like they're going to roll with Rattler at the beginning of the year anyway, and you give a chance to see what Rattler can do behind a solid offensive line, it might not be that bad. And I'll just say this, like Todd mentioned, Neal, Danny Stutzman in the fourth round. I mean, he was an absolute steal. So I mean, you have a really good linebacker there, a really good running back picked late. Really good offensive lineman. And no, the Shuck pick wasn't super sexy, but I'm also going to trust my coach, who is a former quarterback.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping it was him who made the pick and not Loomis, because
We got Kellen Moore and we got Nussmeier, another former quarterback, and it's like, we feel like these two guys are going to shape this guy. They wanted him for a reason.
Yeah.
I just hope he can stay healthy because in his
size.
highlight reel, there was more video of him getting carted off the field.
Yeah, he had like 3 season-ending injuries. That's why he was in college for like 9 years.
But I think that but that can be helped too. Like if your offensive line can stay healthy and protect him, that's one. If you can limit, he ran a lot in college, so if you can limit the amount that he's going to run and just let him use his arm, maybe that helps him as well.
I mean, I don't think the Saints have had a quarterback of his stature. I mean, he's like 6'5". He's a big dude.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't they say he was the fastest quarterback in the draft? Did I read that incorrectly?
I don't know if he was the fastest, but
Maybe-
he
maybe-
ran a lot, so he might be one of the fastest.
He's probably right behind Cam Ward in terms of like his speed per se, which is a good thing. But I don't think he's a burner per se. But I don't think he's slow either.
He's probably got a big stride for being tall too. But
I just hope the age, like, because everybody knocks, like, oh, he's going to be 26 when the season starts. It's like, well, it's already been proven in the last few years that these quarterbacks that they throw in there after like 1 year of really starting in college are not ready.
yeah.
And
Quarterback is not a position you really worry about that with because, Joe Flacco is probably over
Right.
40, and
that's
he's
the
probably going to
thing.
be the starter for the Browns.
Okay, he's 26. We get 10 solid years out of him that he's only 36. What if he plays 15 years? I mean, quarterbacks are playing into their 40s now. I mean, that's a huge window for him to play for us.
Yeah, I'm not as worried about it as a lot of others.
I'm not worried
I know
about his
and Pat, I would like you to give your analysis of Saints before we move on to the big storyline of the draft.
So you use the word in your analysis, and I think that is spot on. And the word is sexy. Our draft was not sexy,
Right.
in any way. But outside of, let's say, the Giants and the Jaguars, I don't think anyone really had a quote unquote sexy draft.
Right.
We drafted players to build a foundation, which you need. You can't build a house without the foundation. You have your foundation is offensive line and defensive line. If you don't have either of those, you're not going to do well no matter what you have at quarterback per se. You can look at past Super Bowls and other teams and look at that.
Yeah.
So while Shuck is not a sexy pick, especially going in the second round, I'm much more okay with the draft overall and the pick of Shuck. Maybe not in the second round, but just the drafting of him in general. I'm way more okay with that than probably a lot of other fans for it. And again, I get it. You want to get a big top quarterback, but outside of Cam Ward and maybe the potential of Jackson Dart, you didn't really have a stud in this draft to go for at quarterback. So it serves you best for your short and long term to draft a good old lineman or two, build on the defense because you have some aging defensive players that are probably not going to be there in the next year or two, and you have to trust that your head coach, who was a quarterback and not the most physically gifted quarterback, but was very much more cerebral, can work with this kid who's not a kid and mold him and teach him like to play within a structure and a system and just produce and make solid plays. He's more of a quarterback that's you're going to win with, not because of. And all of the draft analysis that I followed pre and post, they all kind of hinted at that. Like you're drafting a player that has played a lot of college ball, so he's experienced. Yes, he's 26, but a lot of that's due to his injury. So if he's healthy, he has the arm that you want. He has a lot of from the shoulders up thinking and ability that you want. He's not the best athlete, but then again, who from the quarterbacks was a really good athlete outside of Cam Ward and maybe Jackson Dart's athleticism.
This whole draft was not good for quarterbacks.
No, and that was the thing. So
yeah, I mean, look, I was shocked. I mean, I didn't follow much of the after the first couple of rounds. I mean, I was just getting the alerts on my phone from the Saints. But I saw the Quinn Ewers went in the 7th round, so he was supposed to be a 3rd or 4th round pick. Drops all the way down to the 7th. So it was kind of like an odd year all around, and I think
It's surprising a quarterback went first overall, given how so few quarterbacks were drafted this year.
Yeah, I think that the term unsexy just kind of goes throughout that whole draft.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But the age thing, like everyone says, oh, you draft a quarterback and you're going to have him for the next 10, 15 years. That rarely works out, that you have one guy in your system for 10 plus years like that. And so
Ask Trey Lance about that.
Yeah, the age thing doesn't matter to me because I don't feel as though Shuck is our next quarterback for 10 years. He might be good enough to be a bridge for a few years until there's another or a better prospect that we can go after. Like we may not be in the Arch Manning sweepstakes next year if he comes out, because we probably will win 7 or 8 games. So we're not going to be the worst team to get a high draft pick, and we're not going to be one of the competing teams for a playoff spot. So we're going to be probably somewhere in like the 7 to 12, 15 range again. So you're not really going to get a high-end quarterback for what's class coming up. But can the kid play and probably be serviceable enough? Yeah. There have been plenty of quarterbacks that have done well in the league with average to above average talent, and you build the pieces around, you have the pieces around him to support him to make a good team. So I'm not going to do the outrage that a lot of Saints fans have done on like shows and podcasts and online about drafting him or just the draft being bad in general. They did the smart thing of drafting for the foundation and the things you need to have a successful team and a successful quarterback. They just didn't have a sexy draft pick, and that's okay. I think we were going to be kind of ass anyway, so I don't think it really matters. We're going to be whether we drafted. Okay, so wait, we weren't getting Cam Ward, right? So no matter who we drafted, I don't think we were going to be better than we were last year with Derek Carr or the quarterback we drafted. So at least now we have some foundational pieces to build on for next year. 2026 is 25, 26 is like, I feel like it's going to be a waste of a season in terms of we're not going to be a playoff team, but we're trying to make the steps to get better.
What is your thoughts on, because I'm seriously thinking about making a bet on the over. The Saints are at 6.5 wins.
I would take the over. We won what, 7, 8 games last year?
5.
Oh, we won 5 last year?
Yeah.
Damn.
Didn't we only win 5 games last year?
Yeah.
5 and 12.
Shit.
I was thinking more than that too.
I'll with some hesitance take the over. 6 wins is low. The Giants were projected to win 5 games this year. I think they'll win more than that. I can see us getting to 6.
The track record of a new coach. I mean, even like when the Seahawks had a new coach, they started the year like 3-0 or something. Mm-hmm. And, it's like a new fire in the team. Yeah. It's like they're gonna. I mean, I'm not saying they'll be a playoff team, but they got to win more than 5.
Well, you saw it when Rizzy took over that they were just done.
Exactly.
They were just done with Allen, and they played hard for Rizzy.
2 wins in a row, almost 3 wins in a row when Rizzy took over.
So I see it happening. Look, if you can win 4 games within your division, you're most of the way there by that.
I think it's the Saints are 6.5, the Panthers are 5.5, and then wherever the Bucks and Falcons fall.
If we could beat the Panthers twice, steal a game from Tampa Bay, split with Atlanta, that's 4 right there. And then you just got to go and play whatever bottom team of the other conference or divisions that we play. It's doable.
I forget who we're playing, but I know the schedule release is May 14th is when we know officially where, like at and at home, what games we're playing.
I mean, we choked away a couple of games last season that we should have won.
Oh, absolutely.
So if you just get the same play as last year with the upgraded pieces, maybe on the O-line and D-line of youth, that could be the 2 wins that we need to get from 5 to 7 to be over that. So I'm going to reluctantly say 7 wins. But
that's what I'm saying. When I saw 6.5, I'm like, I could see him 7 and 10 at least. So I definitely would want to take over on that instead of under.
Right, but again, we kind of feel, I think, that this season is kind of like a wash coming up. We're just trying to get ready for the 26-27 season. This year
building blocks, not necessarily a wash, but hopefully you see promise in Kellen Moore and his staff and everything.
Yeah. You want to see the vision of what he wants to execute on offense. You want to see the young players on defense play well and kind of take over some of the reps from some of the veterans that are probably not going to be there. And you want to see the O-line play with consistency and play with congruity so that they're all in one step. And then you take that next step forward.
Right.
Hopefully you just want to be good enough that the quarterback play can be good enough where your O-line is protecting and helping him and you can get over the hump. hopefully you also have your number one receiver healthy for most of the year too.
And that was
And your number two.
One of my nuggets was the O-line is now all first-round draft picks except McCoy. He was a second-rounder, and he's probably the best one on the line.
Yeah.
And the year the Saints have drafted O-line or D-line in the last 9 out of 10 drafts, the only draft they didn't was Olave.
Yeah.
Was our first-round pick, and then they took McCoy second round. So, I mean, to have first-rounders, second-rounder, that's a pretty solid line. And then even Penning, they move him in as guard for, like, the O-line standpoint is that he was not very good in pass protection, but in the open field, like blocking guys in open field, like when he drove that dude into the bleachers and shit, it's like he seems to have that agility. So that's what guards do more instead of protecting the edge like tackles do. So he might come into his own at the guard position, you know.
Walking away from the draft, do y'all think there's any holes that still need to be addressed as we get closer to the regular season?
Cornerback.
I think we need another wide receiver.
And there's some free agent wide receiver options that are still available that we could probably look at. But yeah, I would say wide receiver, and on the other side of the ball, cornerback. Maybe you could find another linebacker just to have depth, I guess.
But so here's one of the things that's been sitting out there. We're going into the season now with Alontae Taylor and Kool-Aid McKinstry as our top two corners. Corner to me is our biggest hole. Like we lost Adebo, we lost Lattimore. Now one of the names that has been tied to us because he's actually made the comment that he wants to play for Staley is Jalen Ramsey is going to be on the trade market. He's already on the trade market. If they don't receive an offer by June, he could be a free agent. And he's already made it publicly known that he would like to play for Staley. I personally hate the guy as a personality, but at this point, I'm like, you know what, that guy can play.
We can't do worse.
So if we can get him for fairly cheap, I'm all for it at this point because I think he's definitely a step above Kool-Aid McKinstry.
Can we afford him though? I mean,
yeah, that's all the question, because if he gets flat out released, then it's basically we get to.
I mean, how many teams? This would be like his fourth team, maybe.
So he was Jaguars,
Rams,
and Dolphins. So yeah, we'd be his.
I mean, he's I don't want to say he's on the back end of his career, but he's not worth like what he was after leaving the Jaguars.
Right. Yeah, I mean he's definitely an aging cornerback, but at the same point, like I feel like he's probably definitely better than what we have. So yeah, I'd be all for it if he comes at a good price for us and we don't have to give up too much for him.
Yeah, if you could get the depth of adding a player who at the very least has experience and knows how to play, what to do, he would be worth a flyer on it. Yes, he probably has a bit of, I don't want to say ego, but he's
definitely got that. Yeah.
He definitely has a personality that can rub you the wrong way, or just wear on you. So I would think if you can get him for the cheap and he comes in as a veteran and shows some leadership and helps out our team, he's a good depth pickup, and he would be worth a flyer on because, again, McKinstry is not there yet, and he seems like he's progressing, but still maybe a little slow to get where he needs to be or we need him to be. But I think the talent of Ramsey when he's healthy is a viable commodity to have for a team that, like the Saints, who needs that help and could use the veteran presence, even though we have some aging vets, but we could do someone on the back end that has all that experience.
And it's not like his numbers were terrible either. He's still putting up decent numbers, but his production has definitely slipped since his early Ram days and his Jaguar days. But at this point, for what we're looking at, and didn't really take a high pick on a cornerback, I think he'd definitely be worth a shot at this point.
Yeah, for sure.
But I do think what Todd mentioned, our second big need is a receiver. And then I think about it, and I almost forget that we picked up Brandon Cooks, but I kind of...
What pisses me off is that we paid Brandon Cooks more than the Seahawks paid MVS.
Oh, wow. Yeah, and he felt, well, he played hard for us. That was a
I can't believe we didn't re-sign him. He was like our best receiver last year.
Yeah. All right, so outside of the Saints, I think the big storyline of the NFL draft that went on for a few days was Shedeur Sanders. So, and I think this was a lot as the Saints Saints fans' criticism of why did we take Shook over Sanders. So I want to get y'all's opinion on that.
If he would have like been taken late in second round or something, I could see the argument. But he fell. Every team let him fall. So it's like it's clearly obvious it's something with him that to say like, oh, why didn't we take him at 40? It's like people didn't take him at 240 or 140, whatever the fucking pick he went at. You know, it's like he obviously was an eyesore for some of them. You know.
Yeah.
If you allow me to go first, I'll bring as much nuance as I can from the experts of football that I have listened to over the while, and what a lot of them, the thing I kept hearing from a lot of them was maybe the evaluation was way higher than the public perception. Like, yes, he is talented, but he's maybe not as talented as we thought, and that's the reason he fell. And it was like the teams and the GMs and all kind of made that known. Like, he was the second best quarterback projected in the draft, but really he was a fifth round talent per se. He was just the second best of what was available. Because again, it's a weak draft class, and then as the draft progressed, you realize there were only 3 teams, maybe 4, that needed a quarterback: the Browns, the Giants, the Saints,
Steelers.
The Steelers had needs they needed to address. The Browns, though their quarterback room is very mediocre at best, they needed a quarterback. But going for Shedeur early was like an extreme reach.
Yeah.
The Giants, from everything I've read, they wanted Jackson Dart a long time ago. Mm-hmm. So yes, there was interest in Shedeur, but they had identified Dart as the person they wanted for a while, and it's just a matter of when and how they would go get him. So from what it seems to me is that, yes, he has some talent, but he's not a generational talent. He was not even close to Cam Ward in terms of his ability, because he doesn't have a big arm. He's not super athletic. He can process very well, but all the totality of his talent was not super high, and that maybe the public and some of the experts also kind of pumped him up to be better than he actually is talent-wise. Because again, at Colorado, he was only 13-13, or like he kind of like was a 500. His team was only 500, so he clearly wasn't doing enough to take them over the top, despite them having a bad O-line and no defense. I think everyone kind of got fooled on how good he was because he played so well to make Colorado at least semi-relevant. But the talent itself is just the GMs and the teams told you he was not a second or third round talent.
Well, with the same talent, the same numbers, how much would anyone be looking at Colorado if their name wasn't Sanders? If Coach Prime wasn't there, even Travis Hunter, it's like, you know, it seems like the limelight, you know, it's like, yes, he put up some crazy numbers, but would he have been in Heisman talks if he went to, like, you know, West Valley State or something like that?
Right. Well, also, did Sanders get the benefit of having the Heisman Trophy winner in his receiving corps? Yeah.
Right.
I just think that after the fact, and yes, hindsight's 2020, the talent was not first, second round grade talent. He was the second best quarterback, yes, but this was not a strong class, and the gulf between 1 and 2 was bigger. And then you hear all the stories about how he treated his interviews, and that absolutely had a factor into it. That was probably the biggest reason that he dropped, was just that the way he approached these interviews with teams and how he was overly cocky and how he treated the interviews, and that probably hurt him. And
it wasn't there some team that gave him like a play package or something to study or something, and then he came back and like said he didn't look at it or something like that?
The thing was the Giants.
Yeah.
And they were like, this is the play we want to run. Dissect this play, or dissect, or what would you install or do? And he was like, no, I want to run this. I want to do this. And like, you don't get to make those decisions. Like, you're not going to come in and bully a team.
Your dad doesn't coach this team.
Right. You're not going to come in and bully an organization saying that I want to do this, I want to do that. Like Travis Hunter, he said at one point, he said, oh, I'm going to play both sides of the ball, and if you don't let me play both, don't even worry about drafting me. You don't get to make that decision.
Right.
These teams and the owners hold that power. You will do what they want you to do. You will hopefully get the opportunity to maybe play both or do some things that you want, but you're not going to bully them. They have the money and the power. So
And one of the things that came out after, and I do kind of agree with this, and y'all can kind of argue with me or what, but I gotta believe a lot of teams may have passed on him too, just especially ones. Let's use the Steelers for an example. Mike Tomlin has been the coach of the Steelers for a long time. He's kind of been on the decline for a little bit, especially this past season, and a coach who may be already entering the season on a hot seat. And taking a guy like Shedeur, wonders like, okay, if I take Shedeur, is Dion breathing down my neck as the potential replacement for me? What do y'all think about that? And did that turn teams off from taking him?
I don't know if they were looking at it as a potential replacement more so as they didn't want to deal with his ass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not necessarily a replacement, more like we don't need you. Who are you? You're not even on our staff, and you're going to be trying to run the show or tell us what to do with your son.
Because when the Browns drafted him, didn't Dion say that Shedeur is not taking a back seat to anybody?
Well, Dion also said that we're not going to play for the Browns, and then of course he walked that back a little bit. Right. But again, you don't have certain
your
leverage.
Son hasn't been picked in the 5th round yet.
I mean, if any team or coach would be equipped to handle the personality of Shedeur and his dad, I think it would be Mike Tomlin and the Steelers. So I think he could have made it work, but I think they might have a deal already kind of worked out with Rodgers.
I was about to say, who is technically number 1 on their depth chart right now?
Rudolph.
Is it?
Mason Rudolph, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think they drafted a quarterback
Will Howard, yeah.
Yeah, they got Will Howard. But yeah, I think Mason Rudolph, who all the reports say they like him.
He is a fan favorite.
Yeah.
Remember, he started with.
I don't think he's that great.
The other ones, I forget who was fizzling out.
Garrett clunked him in the head.
Right. Was that when Roethlisberger was hurt a couple of years or something?
Yeah, somebody was hurt and he got put in.
Yeah, and he played decent for a bunch of those games. He's not a world beater, but I think
he did good at times for Tennessee last year when they were bouncing back and forth between him and Levis.
Not a sexy starter.
No. But I think Tomlin likes him and trusts him, and if they don't make a move for Rodgers, Rudolph will probably be the guy before Howard, But anyway, all right. So we're all kind of on the same page here, I guess, with the idea of like we're not really losing sleep over the fact that the Saints took Shook over Sanders.
I mean, before we close out on the draft talk, though, I do want to talk about how great some of these memes were that came out. I mean,
the internet did its job with Shedeur Sanders.
Travis mentioned Quinn Ewers going in the 7th round. I think my favorite one was it didn't matter who your favorite Lion King character was. Quinn Ewers has him hanging in his living room.
Ewers ended up in a good spot though, because like he's on Miami as a 7th rounder. Tua gets hurt very frequently. Who's their backup? Is it still Skylar Thompson, or did he get released?
No idea.
No, it's the guy from the Jets that.
Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson's over there.
So I mean, he could easily beat out Zach Wilson. So
there's Skylar Thompson or Zach Wilson.
I mean, all he's got to do is just shoot Zach Wilson, and hang him up on the cave in the room that he was in.
He's a good example. I was trying to think of quarterbacks that had like ridiculous numbers because I remember really wanting the Saints to get Zach Wilson when I saw his BYU numbers, but it's BYU. It's not Alabama or somewhere. You know what I mean? It's the same. Like Trey Lance was like, he had stud numbers in like the FCS or whatever division shit that was.
Yeah, same as Carson Wentz. Piggybacking off of Todd's memes, y'all all know from our group text that I'm a humongous Lester Beetlejuice Green fan. So the idea of the one with him still sitting in the draft room and has him as Beetlejuice and it says, Shedeur, what you doing here? Who? Me? Nothing. I'm just hanging around.
Shedeur and Dion on Will Levis and his girlfriend's heads.
Yep. So the internet did do its job.
Yeah, there was a lot of deep fake technology used on the face-overs or whatever you call that.
One last thing about the draft. What did you think about the prank that the Falcons DC's son did?
They fined him like 100.
Yeah.
I just love that it was the Falcons. That's all.
Well, the Falcons pretending to be the Saints. He pretended to be Loomis.
I didn't know about that.
To be Loomis.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But aren't they from here though? Even though the dad's the defensive coordinator, weren't they?
It's possible. It's possible. But yeah, I heard a bunch of players got pranked though. Like the Ty Warren from Penn State ended up getting pranked too. So a bunch of guys got prank called. I guess Shedeur definitely was the one that got brought to the spotlight though.
Yeah,
But yeah, I don't know. I guess it's funny when it happens, but at the same time, you know, that family's out a lot of money. You know, I mean, it's probably asswipe change to them, but
Right.
Allow me to be the old man. I'm like, I thought it was stupid. Like, it's just dumb. Like, I don't even think it was that funny. Just no matter who they were done it to, like, it's just dumb. But it's the Falcons. That's kind of like, that's their nature.
I'll tell you, Arthur Blank probably isn't happy because he got fined too. So,
Oh, yeah.
you know, so.
What he makes an interest in an hour. Probably.
Exactly. Yeah. But I mean, he's still probably a greedy bastard. So
I know,
probably.
he's probably like count a Scrooge.
Well, hold on now. He has one of the lowest stadium prices for food and concessions. So Mr. Blank,
More.
Mr. Blank,
Well, it's a plus to his fans. you know.
that's nice, sir.
Hey, Mercedes-Benz Stadium has a Chick-fil-A that's closed every Sunday.
Yep.
Ooh.
And he looks like Walt Disney.
So do they serve food when Georgia plays there for special
I
games?
think so,
Yes.
but that was the biggest laugh of like, they have a Chick-fil-A. Great, they're closed for every Falcons game.
Yeah, that's crazy. All right. All right, so staying on the topic of sports here, we actually missed this somehow in our last pod because it happened right before our last pod about 3 weeks ago, was when Alexander Ovechkin broke the long-standing goal record for Wayne Gretzky, which, you know, again, a lot of Todd and I are big hockey fans. Pat is also a big hockey fan. A lot of people thought that Gretzky's records were going to be untouchable, you know, between his goal record, between his overall points record. What are y'all's opinions on Ovechkin now being the NHL goal record holder?
I'm all for it, actually. I mean, I wasn't an Ovechkin fan when he first came into the league, and I thought he was always kind of for better words, a dick. But I mean, you just have to respect the guy because I mean, how old is he right now? He's got to be.
He's got to be in his 40s too, early 40s.
He's in his 40s, and he's just still cranking out goals every season. So I mean, there was some moments in his career where you're like, man, this guy's a dick. I think one of the most famous ones was where I think a little girl was singing the national anthem, and he ended up like shedding ice on her while she was singing. Yeah, man, this dude's a douchebag. But I guess just the consistency of just him constantly being at the top of the goal scoring in each season, you have to respect him. I mean, again, like I know you were a Gretzky fan because he was on the Kings. But I mean, records are meant to be broken, and he's paid his dues. Mm-hmm. I really think that he's earned it. You know, I have no issues with him breaking Gretzky's record.
And look, I think Gretzky actually, you know, he was present at the game when it happened, and they interviewed him, and you know, Gretzky's just a humble dude. Like he's like a class act in general, and he basically said the same thing Todd said. He's like, well, that's why I'm here. He's like, I'm, you know, extremely happy for him. You know, records are meant to be broken, and Gretzky probably knows that his all-time points record is probably never going to get broken. So he's sitting there.
He's got plenty of other ones. It's not like the only one he holds on to.
But look, I'm with Todd. You know, when Ovechkin came into the league, I was not a fan of him. I thought he was very arrogant. I thought he was a selfish player, and he still, for the most part, is. Like he doesn't get a lot of assists. He's mostly a goal guy, so that's why he'll never get Gretzky's overall point record.
The man can snipe.
Yep. I mean, look, he was still scoring some beauties in the playoffs. But
Sniper snipes.
I think my opinion of Gretzky really started, and this sounds petty, but my opinion of Ovechkin really changed when the Capitals beat the Vegas Golden Knights in the finals a few years ago. And it was because it was the inaugural season of the Vegas Knights. And then you look at the Vegas Knights have always been, since they've come into the league, to me, a very cocky organization. And
Mike, what do you think about that?
Mike, you had an opinion on that one? Thanks for your 2 cents, Mike. But I was, you know, somebody actually asked me, knowing I'm a big hockey fan, well, who are you pulling for? And I said, well, I'm not really a Capitals fan or a Knights fan, but it would be nice to see a guy with the stature of Alexander Ovechkin win a Stanley Cup before he retires. And he did it, end up winning. And my opinion of him has changed from then. I think he's matured. He, again, in his 40s, still a hell of a hockey player, still scoring goals like crazy. So like, I'm happy for him too. I think it's well earned.
What year was that they won?
That was the year. Whatever year was the inaugural season of the Golden Knights.
2018, 19?
Yeah,
By the way, he's 39.
Damn.
so late 30s.
I mean,
still scoring goals.
I mean, he's
September
the grade
85.
8. He's also the gray 8. I mean, his hair is like completely gray.
I mean, my only take is that he did it all with one team, which is
Yeah.
pretty awesome.
Yep,
Yeah, you
very
don't see-
rare to see that nowadays.
I don't see that too much.
I would say I think a lot of athletes as they age and get older and you realize that they're getting towards the end of their career, whether he played on your biggest rival team or was just a pain in the ass or thorn in the side to your team, I think we start to kind of soften up our opinion on these players as they get older and age, and we know that, hey, they're kind of in the twilight of their career, right? So I think most people's opinion of him probably changed or softened within the last probably 4 or 5 years because we know he wasn't playing as often or as much. He wasn't totally destroying your team when he played. So, and he's not a bad guy. I don't think I've ever read anything really bad about him in terms of like his personality, other than like maybe a bit of selfishness. But that's the least.
well-
I think that's the biggest indictment on him. That's a good career.
Yeah, I think the one thing that Todd brought up earlier when he first said the one thing that you can pinpoint him for being a quote unquote dick was when he was, I think it was in international play, and a little girl was singing a national anthem for our country, and he's skating off the ice for the warm up, and he cuts ice all over the little girl, and it might have been a complete accident, but as a pro hockey player, you probably know where that ice is going when you do that. So that would be the one thing. But again, overall, I think he's really grown on me as a player, and I don't have any issues with him anymore.
Yeah, I mean he's going to go down in history as one of the best hockey players, and by sheer numbers, he is the greatest goal scorer in league history. I don't think anyone will say that he's a better goal scorer than Gretzky or a better player. Gretzky's numbers will never be touched. This one obviously was just you play that long, you have a very good chance, especially being that talented, of breaking that record. The assist record, probably not getting touched. The points record, not going to get touched. So he will go down as one of the best goal scorers ever. But I don't think anyone a professional hockey player or casual Joe Blow fan will say that Ovechkin is the greatest goal scorer our league has ever seen. He's up there for sure, but Gretzky I think will be the number one for all time.
Here's some easy numbers. It's crazy. Goals, Ovechkin 895 in 1,486 games. Gretzky 894 in 1,487 games. Okay, right?
Close.
Even. But then assists, Ovechkin 726, Gretzky 1,963.
And look, that's my point. Like he's getting no knock on the guy, excellent goal scorer, but he hasn't been the most selfless player, in hockey. And I guess the next person that we're seeing do that is McDavid. Like I hate McDavid just because he, again, 4 years in a row knocked the Kings out the playoffs. But there's no denying his talent, and I think further down the line we'll probably be having the same conversation about him. I don't hate McDavid. He's done a lot for the game.
Oh, it's funny that y'all mentioned that at points in their career you dislike him, but over time you end up gaining respect for him. Because I mean, Travis and I were not really big Michael Jordan fans as a kid. I think we actually even had his picture on our dartboard because we were just tired of watching him win.
Yeah,
and we wanted to see other people win. But if you ask me now, like, who's the greatest basketball player of all time, I'm going with Michael Jordan.
Sure.
yeah.
That's how I feel about Tom Brady. I respect him
Yeah.
more now that he's retired. I hated him as a Patriot, but then now it's like I hated that he won one with the Bucks, but now that he's retired and it's been long enough, it's like I look back and I'm like, that's freaking phenomenal.
I don't know if I'll ever like Tom Brady as a person, but there's again no denying his greatness. Like the guy.
That's what I mean. It's like I don't hate him as much as I used to when he was playing, but it's just
I mean, I think you also got to kind of respect the fact that, what was he, a 6th-round pick, 7th-round pick?
7.
6 round.
With 6 though.
Yeah.
So.
And, like, he's won this many Super Bowls. I mean, he just has all these accolades. I mean, you got to respect the man for that.
That's going to be shook for the Saints.
And it's always cool to
He was
see.
a 2nd-round pick, though, so.
It's also cool to see someone who was not an elite athlete, but he was so dedicated to his craft and played so well for so long. The longevity is probably what helps Brady so much more than anything. Yes, he did a ton of winning, but to play at a Super Bowl caliber level for all those years, the respect thing takes over. Like, oh, I hate this guy because he plays for the Patriots, or he plays for my arch enemy, something like that. So Same thing with Ovechkin. I feel like he kind of he did his thing and he did it for so long, and you kind of just soften your opinion on him because you respect the talent and the talent for so long that you're just kind of like, all right, I don't like you. I didn't like you because you were this player and you were a pain ass to my team, but I respect your talent.
Well, it's funny when you look back is that Brady beating Mahomes in the Super Bowl. It's like I was pissed about that at the time, and now I'm sick of the Chiefs. And it's like it's funny to think that Bucks beat the shit out of them in the Super Bowl.
And honestly, there may come a point in time where I'd say, I'm not going to speak for you two, Todd and Travis, but I think maybe your opinion of Mahomes might maybe lessen and say, let's say 8, 10 years from now. Let's say the Chiefs don't win 4 or 3 of the next 10 Super Bowls, and he maybe wins 1 more. So he has 4. 4 in 10 years, you probably don't think as negatively about him or the Chiefs because they're not doing all the winning. I think the thing with Brady was they won so much, so often, you got tired of it. And that kind of happened with Mahomes as well.
Yeah.
If they go on a bit of a drought,
same with Jordan.
you'll still respect the talent that Mahomes has, and now we don't have to deal with the whole the refs are winning them games or they're getting all the calls for that. And you probably just take a step back and look at the guy is just very, very talented. He's not maybe the douchebag that I said he was or I thought he was. He got the benefit of the doubt sometimes, but he's still a really, really good player. Now that they're not winning as much, I can not dislike them as much.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that assessment. I mean, I liked Mahomes coming into the league. We pulled for him for a few years.
I love Alex Smith.
Same token goes to Tom Brady, because I remember the first one the Patriots won, it was against the Rams, and since the Rams had previously won, I was pulling for the Patriots. Didn't know that it was going to lead to everything that the Patriots did. So yeah, I could totally agree with that assessment.
My personal example of this would be Mariano Rivera. I hate the Yankees. I don't like any of the Yankees players, but I absolutely respect his craft and what he was able to do for all those years. So though he played for my most hated baseball team, second most hated baseball team, fuck the Cubs, I respect his talent and the longevity of his career, and I like him enough to be like, he's cool. But the team he played for, I hate him because he played for the Yankees. But looking back now that he's retired X number of years ago, yeah, he's a good dude.
But didn't something just break with him with child sex abuse?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if it was that, but it was. He's definitely got in trouble for something recently.
Okay, maybe I'll take back my opinion.
I was about to say that changes your opinion pretty quick.
Let me go ahead and redact everything now that Todd is put up.
Redact.
Yeah, I just saw it. It's
real solid
Friday,
guy.
Damn.
Just came out
Rivera.
Friday. Yeah.
Stupid ass
He
pinstripes.
seems like a nice guy.
Stupid ass pinstripes.
Well, we all agreed that we were not going to talk about NHL playoffs due to the Kings losing 4 in a row to the 4 in a row year-wise and 4 in a row this season to the Oilers, and Pat's Avalanche were also eliminated, and Todd's Sharks were nowhere near the playoffs. So we're just not gonna talk about the NHL playoffs.
No, my only comment about the NHL playoffs is I hate Dallas so much. There's nothing I like about that team at all. Bennington, keeper, fantastic, but goddamn, I hate that team.
No. Oh, you mean Ottinger?
Same difference. I don't know why I'm thinking Bennington.
Bennington's on the Blues.
Yeah, it's on the Blues. I hate him too.
I did like Pavelski.
But yeah, Ottinger can go get fucked.
All right, staying on the topic of sports, this one's not your usual sport that you'll hear on the Wasted Wagons podcast, but it is a pretty big event across the sports board. Pat, would you like to talk a little bit about the Kentucky Derby?
Yes, the Derby. A tradition like any other. I don't pay attention to horse racing up until a week before the Derby, and then I start looking at the horses' names, and I pick my betting favorite based off of the names. I correctly picked Sovereignty to win on literally a 10-minute bet before the Derby started, and yeah, thanks. I won $50 on that guy.
Hey,
on that horse.
All right.
Nice.
Do you wear a big hat?
No, I did not. I'm not going to dress up. I dressed up one year for the Derby for an impromptu Derby party. So I put on a suit, no hat though. But I don't get that much into the
The
conference
dudes wear the
circumstance.
hats. I thought it was the women that wear the big goofy
The
hats.
women wear the hats, but you see guys like wearing fedoras every now and then. The
True.
guys will at least wear suits or dress up really nice.
Well, yeah.
But no, I don't really do derby dress up. I do pay attention to the 3 big races and maybe like a race or 2 at the fairgrounds here and there, but that's about as far as I go with the derby.
There is something I want to say about fancy hats, but it's gonna come, I guess, closer to the end of this podcast.
Okay. But yeah, the 151st running of the Derby was yesterday. It was a very entertaining race. The favorite finished second. The track was very muddy, so I think that kind of leveled the field a bit. But even with that said, I think Sovereignty, who won, was maybe the second or third best odds to win. So
8-1.
yeah, it was a bit chalkish. That the top, I think three of the 4 top horses finished first, second, and third. So
Yeah, because a friend of mine, I think he put a $100 bet and won $898 on picking Sovereignty.
yeah,
So,
I don't know. I know the basics of horse racing in terms of like the gambling aspect of like doing like a trifecta, a superfecta, and the box and all that. I know it just by nomenclature, but I don't really know how to actually bet it. So if I do bet it, I just pick one horse to go, and that's it. I don't really feel like I fill out a 3-horse box to win or whatever.
I've got 2 things to say on the Kentucky Derby. I didn't watch this year, but if you haven't been over to Churchill Downs, it's a really cool place. Like we went, not in season, of course. We went when it was freaking snowing, and the Kentucky Derby Museum that's connected to Churchill Downs is a really cool place. It was something that I wasn't really expecting to like a whole lot. It was just something like, oh, touristy things to do in Louisville. It ended up being a really cool place to visit. So if you get a chance to go to Louisville and see that, and if that's a bucket list item for some as far as going to see the Kentucky Derby or going out there to Churchill Downs, the museum there is really cool.
To quickly piggyback on what you just said, we need to do this top 5 one day. Top 5 bucket list at either activities or things to do. I think we should put together that list at some point. The Derby might be in my if not my top 5, it might be an OLI for me for bucket list things I want to do. It's like at least from a sporting standpoint.
Okay, I'm down with that one. And my second thing is this was it might have been right before COVID or right after COVID. Heather and I went to, this was when she worked at Whitney Bank, and she got free tickets to a Kentucky Derby party over at the Hard Rock Casino, and it was basically a bourbon tasting leading up to the Kentucky Derby. So they had all the coverage on this big like movie theater like screen, same room we saw Seether in, by the way, Todd, and then tables all around the
same
place.
room I saw Jake Owen in for the first time.
you mean in Biloxi?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
What did I say?
Well, no.
Yeah.
Hard Rock Hotel or Hard Rock Casino. Yeah.
Yeah, it was in the Hard Rock Hotel, and they had the samples of bourbon all around the big movie projector screen, and the whole time it's just anticipating leading up to the race. But it was free bourbon all around, and
You're stumbling around and like, hey, look, horses.
yeah, because I mean it was all neat, so it was all like no mixed drinks. It was just strictly shots of bourbon. So yeah, you just take a few of those.
We all neat in here, motherfucker.
Nice and sauced up. The race lasted like 45 seconds, and then you're friggin' drunk, not even know what's going on. And after the race, a band started playing, but we were already like nice and sloshed.
So Woodford Reserve is the main official sponsor of the Derby. Was that the first time you had Woodford and realized you didn't like it?
No, I think the first that might have been there. I didn't really pay attention to the names at that time. But the first time I had Woodford and realized I didn't like it was actually at the fantasy draft we had during the COVID year. And that was, I don't know who brought it, but I think it was Mike. Mike brought it. And then Maury brought a couple.
I remember who brought Buffalo Trace.
Who?
A certain fella in law enforcement.
He who must not be named.
How many
have the right to remain silent.
how many hearts did you get the Buffalo Trace?
Buffalo
Trace is pretty good.
Buffalo Trace is solid.
I'm not like a big bourbon guy, but I'd say 4.2.
Didn't we already say we were talking about that? Was it
4.2 hearts.
What's the other? Oh, Buffalo Trace, Elijah Craig, and Woodford. I would put them in that order.
Buffalo Trace is God.
I would put them 1, 2, and 3 would be Buffalo Trace, Elijah Craig, then Woodford.
I would agree with that assessment.
Sean,
Do we know Buffalo Trace is still in the water?
I think they pumped the water out of the city. Sean, is Buffalo Trace bourbon?
Is it? Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah. I was like, is that a trick question?
No, I just want to rehash that encounter you had with that gentleman from the last pod we talked about.
Yeah.
That was a really cool event, and I was
Was it
glad.
a sexual encounter?
Hopefully not.
Yeah, I wonder if that guy got his Buffalo Trace whiskey that he was all worried about getting. He was going to buy a basket full of it. Because you heard about the distilleries underwater. Like, okay, it's it's not like it's never going to come back. But okay,
Buffalo Trace will be fine.
If a whole city like New Orleans came back, I'm sure Buffalo Trace will
that's
be
like
will be
saying if
aight.
New Orleans is underwater, hey, they have a Coke plant in Elmwood. It's like I think Coca-Cola's fine.
Yeah. No, but that was a really cool event. Actually, that was the first time I realized that Biloxi area, and I think it closed now, had a Shaggy's from the Lucy's, not Shaggy's, had a Lucy's bar right
I
on
don't
the
think
beach.
Lucy's is still around.
So once this function ended, Heather and I went to Lucy's out in Biloxi.
Like
and continued
Lucy's,
to drink.
Lucy's a retired surfer bar.
Retired surfer bar. Yep. It was like a triple decker, and I don't think it caught on there like it did here, obviously, because I think that location closed. But good night.
Fat Bottom's also closed in Biloxi, by the way.
Tragic. So does Scuttlebutts in Slidell. R.I.P.
It's got some good graffiti on the building. Yeah.
Sad.
But Fat Bottom's was a barbecue place.
That's what you thought.
It was a cover up.
All right, y'all. Moving on from
Liquor in front, poker in back.
Yo.
moving on from sports. We're going to talk a little bit about Easter, our Easter plans, and what we mentioned what we were going to do for Easter. Now that Easter has passed, we'll talk about what we did. I don't want to spend too much time on everything Todd and I did, but I do, being that it is the Wasted Wagons podcast, I would like to highlight the Ohio breweries that we went to while we were there, and we could talk a little bit about the ball games, but that's where I'll leave it.
You don't want to talk about the game house in Cleveland?
We can talk about that too. First off, though, flew into Cincinnati on a Wednesday night. Ended up not doing anything until Thursday morning. We did 2 breweries in Cincinnati.
Which, by the way, I mean, when you go on vacations, it seems like that the Airbnb is the way to go. Because in Cincinnati, we stayed at the Hampton in downtown Cincinnati, and the parking garage, we thought would end up being comped, or what's the word that
Validated.
Validated, yeah. And we had to pay $40 a night just to leave our car parked there.
Yeah. So the way this parking garage worked was there was a hotel on each side of it, and the 2 hotels shared it, but neither hotel owned it.
These 2 hoes
So-
shared it.
So it was their own company, and they charge residents of both, or
Not to jump ahead, we stayed at a Hampton on the beach, and it was $15 a day to park in their garage.
no. Well, it beats 40.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's going to we'll get back to that a little bit in the Gear Grinder segment too. But first brewery we went to in Cincinnati.
It's Northern Row.
It was called Northern Row, and it was a distillery and brewery in one. We didn't do any of the hard alcohol. I know Pat asked that earlier. I was more focused on the beer on this trip.
Nothing really sexy about this place.
Sometimes that's okay.
But they did have shuffleboard for the kids. The kids enjoyed playing shuffleboard. They kept them occupied. They had a bunch of candy machines, things like that. They actually, for me, they had a really good Marzen on draft. They had some strange names to them. One of them was called the Supporter. One of them they just had weird names to them. One of them was called the Banker. I think one of them was called the Citizen. They were just kind of named after different people, but their Marzen was really good. And then they also had a blood orange Kolsch that was really good.
But we ended up getting a growler of a blackberry sour.
It was a blackberry sour, and it was called Coaster,
Yeah, it was called coaster. A
which
roller
I
What is a growler? It's the type of glass.
it's like a big jug.
Yeah, it's like a jug, glass
Okay.
jug. And theirs
got-
is kind of cool because it almost looks like a barrel.
I had 2.
Yeah,
I've
okay,
now got
fine.
2 of them. I took the growler home. It's in my man cave.
Did you steal it?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, they
Came-
let you
came-
keep. They
came-
let you keep it for what you
Oh,
pay
okay.
for it. But the women, the wives liked the Coaster. Todd liked the Coaster, so I agreed.
Of course.
He likes the sours, So I agreed we agreed to all bring that back to the hotel. and drank the rest of that when we got back to the hotel while the kids played pool.
Nice jugs.
Yep. That's what a growler is.
I got one from Beavers Bend, in Oklahoma.
Which, by the way, the kids loved playing pool on this trip. Like not swimming in an indoor pool, playing billiards. So we go back to the hotel. It's really time for bed, but they want to go play pool, so we bring back the growler and just drink that while the kids are playing pool. So really cool.
So, how many hearts for the brewery and the beer itself?
Oh, I have to think about this because if I rank this one of the 5 we went to, one of them can't really be a fair assessment because we only had one drink at this place, but not Northern Row. I would say this was probably my 3rd favorite of the 5. So if I was gonna say this, but it was still probably over 4. I'd say like a 4.1 maybe.
This might have been my least favorite of them. It was still probably. I'd still probably give it like a 3.9.
And as far as the family atmosphere, how many hearts out of 5?
It was probably the second best one for families, actually.
Yeah, it had stuff for the kids to do, which was important. Kept them occupied for a while. So definitely high on the list.
Yeah, so for families, 4.5.
All right, so without spending too much time on that one, the second one in Cincinnati, second day, was called Rheinheist Brewery. And this one was legit. Like
this was my favorite of the trip.
So this place was humongous. Like it was a
Legit.
big open warehouse, and you had to go up to get to the warehouse area. So you had to walk up. We had to go up a couple of flights of stairs and get to the main floor, and it's humongous. And like we're thinking like this is it. Like you see all the brewing vats. You got the bar in the back. You have ping pong and cornhole.
Rows and rows of tables, kind of like Urban Chestnut. Kind of like how Urban Chestnut is set up in like a little parlor with like just long ass tables.
So this one kept the kids occupied between ping pong and cornhole pretty much the whole time. They had a really good merch stand. Todd actually bought a shirt. They had a shit ton of beers on tap, and not only beers, they had ciders, seltzers. I mean, it was like, a ton of them. And then to cap it all off, which made it even more entertaining, we didn't even do this till right before we were about to leave. They have a rooftop bar, and it overlooks the downtown area of Cincinnati, and that's actually where all the crowd was. Like we're in the, it looked like the parking lot was kind of full, and then we're in the main area, and nobody's down there, and then you get up to the rooftop, everybody's on the rooftop.
How many stories up?
It's probably like an additional 2 or 3 stories up from the main floor.
I mean, shit, the main floor was probably like 4 stories up. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it was
And y'all were in Cincinnati for 2 days?
2 days.
How would you rate the city overall from the time you spent there?
Cincinnati doesn't have a whole lot to do.
I wish I had Camden in here because he could tell you what his favorite part of Cincinnati was. So there was this homeless lady that was obviously probably schizophrenic talking to us.
Unhoused.
And get this, she was a white lady, and she comes up to me.
Why does that matter?
But
Why is that surprising, Travis?
Let Travis finish.
You will completely understand why I pointed out her race. So we walk. She's sitting in a bus stop, and then as we're walking to our car, this was before we went. This was right before we went to the brewery. So we leave this. Cincinnati prides himself on having the quote unquote oldest supermarket in.
Patrick's waiting.
They have the oldest supermarket in the United States. It's called Findlay Market. So we leave the market. We're walking to our car. This lady is in a bus stop, and she comes out, and she just starts walking on the side of us, and we're just minding our business, walking to the car, and she just keeps walking. And then all of a sudden, she turns to me, and it's like literally like this close to my face. And she says, yeah, you think you're tough? Like, why don't you arrest me? Why don't you arrest me? Why don't you arrest me instead of arresting all these black people? And then I'm sitting there like, oh my God, like what is going on?
You want to arrest me, tough guy?
Yeah, she kept calling me a tough guy.
Shit, a motherfucking tough guy.
And so then I'm just like sitting there walking straight, just completely ignoring that she's even in my face. Well, eventually,
The thing is, like, why is she asking Travis to arrest her when he's not like he's in a cop uniform. He's wearing a fucking baseball jersy. He's got his Barry Larkin jersey on.
Actually, that was a Joey Votto jersey that day. But yeah, so I'm just walking, minding my business. Well, as soon as the woman decides like we're not humoring her and she's bored with us, she walks back to the bus stop, and his son just starts busting out laughing.
Camden said that was his favorite part of the trip.
He's like, Uncle Travis, why didn't you tell her anything? I was like, because I wanted her out of my fucking face, you know.
You're just making me think of the meme with the dogs, like, you know, a gas station at 2 a.m. and it's like the crackheads and it's like the dog staring at the other one.
Yep.
The other one's like looking
Travis,
straight ahead.
Travis, could you smell her breath?
He's like, arrest me, tough guy, arrest me. And I'm like, I'm not a cop.
Walking down the
Travis got
street.
that badge on his chest.
Was your jersey blue? No.
So that's why race came into play,
Cincinnati
because
race.
she was, stop arresting all the black people, arrest me, tough guy. And I'm like, all right. And look, I didn't know I had a badge on my chest, but all right. So anyway, funny story leading up to Rhine Heist, but Rhine Heist ended up being a really pleasant experience, very large. Bartender was cool as hell. Like he saw me wearing a jersey, a Reds jersey, and started talking to me. I was like, nope, I'm actually from New Orleans. We actually caught the Reds game the previous day. Really cool. Probably, like Todd said, definitely in my top two. Like I think the top two are kind of interchangeable as far as that.
Favorite beer there was a black lager called Steve.
Steve. It was just called Steve.
I think they might have named some of them after their workers because there was like 2 or 3 of them that had like dudes' names.
And I would agree with Todd. I think the Steve was really good.
My favorite beer is Steve.
All right. So
Steve's Lava Chicken.
the beer overall as a whole, how many hearts?
So I gave Northern Row a 4.1. This one I'm going probably like 4.7.
Yeah, I'd say 4.6.
And the atmosphere?
Oh, 5.
5.
One of the best breweries as atmospheric as we've been to.
Yeah, we haven't like ranked like breweries. I know we did like top 5 beers, and one of them I was kind of pissed that I left off was the Bird is the Word, which was a honey kolsch, right?
Yeah, honey kolsch.
From Checkers by Brewing. But this one, as far as like all the ones we've been nationally, is probably one of my favorites ever because I mean it was huge. It had a lot of shit for kids to do. It had great merch, great beer. The hospitality was great. A rooftop bar. I mean, it was orgasmic as far as like breweries go.
So jumping into the third stop, we're going to skip past Ohio State. That was the third day of the trip. We didn't do any breweries, but we did do a nice find in the German Village. I sent y'all pictures. German restaurant.
German.
Called the Sausage House.
Oh,
And
go
they had,
on.
Sausage House.
And they actually had Paul Anna Oktoberfest on tap, which I got a big tall boy of that. But
And they actually had Steve on tap.
yeah, is that what you
Steve's a
got?
popular
That's
guy.
what I got.
Yeah. So we're not gonna spend much time on that one, but
You
it
hear
was
locals saying, "Hey, have y'all had Steve yet?"
did- but
Like,
they
I don't know
didn't-
how to answer that.
They didn't name it. They didn't name it Steve in their
just
menu.
said- they
It was
just said
Rheingeist Black Lager.
Black Lager. Yeah.
Okay.
I know you didn't want to spend a whole lot of time on this, but I'm genuinely curious, like, just what you thought of, like, your visit to Ohio State University, though. You don't have to get, like, the detail, but just what you think of it overall?
So Ohio State's athletic complex is phenomenal. So I mean, like when you get on this college campus, like the campus itself, the campus itself kind of looks a little. Yeah. So the campus itself kind of looks a little run down, like a little older.
It's older, yeah.
It's an older campus. I might say run down. It just looks like an older campus. But then when you get to the athletic district of it, I guess you would say, like, it's phenomenal. Like the football field, baseball field, like they have a whole freaking complex just devoted to their sports, which makes sense being that they're a good sports school.
Yeah, I mean, first off, you remember when we went to UNO. UNO had a nice rec center. Ohio State's is surpassed that, obviously. But then if you go down to like this athletic district where the baseball stadium is, they have a whole like complex where the football training facility, and you could see in there their weight room, and it's like that's even surpasses the rec center for the students.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal.
The rec center for the students looked extremely special. Like it was, very nice. But then, like Todd said, the athletes obviously don't work out with the regular students. They have their own place that they work out. But no, really cool. But the sausage house in the German Village was very cool find. Really good lunch and good beers on tap. But going into the next day we ventured into Cleveland, and the first night in Cleveland we did the Southern Tier Brewing, which I appreciate them for a number of reasons. But we park a good bit away because this was this night of Cavs playoff game 1, and people were charging $60, $70 for parking. And so we ended up finding a church parking lot that was only charging like $12 or something like that. So we ended up doing that. So we had a little bit of a walk to this place, and we weren't ready to eat or drink yet. We were just going to do some more walking around. And we told the guy, we're like, yeah, we're coming back to eat. We actually already called earlier just to make sure you're open because it was Easter Sunday. And then, but like, yeah, our kids got to pee. You think we can use the bathroom? He's like, oh yeah, absolutely. Because a lot of signs will say no public restroom. So that was number one. But they had a beer called Caramel Cookie Bar Stout, and it was hands down the best beer I had on the trip. And remember how we talked about the Love Gun from St. Louis, Heavy Riff Brewing. This one probably gets up in that conversation as far as like out-of-state breweries beer. Caramel Cookie Bar Stout.
Sounds pretty damn good.
It's freaking
The
awesome.
name sounds like I want to try it.
Did y'all bring any beer back from any of these places?
No, because we flew, so we didn't put anything in the luggage. But yeah, I
You didn't
wish.
smuggle them like I did in St. Louis?
No.
I'm trying to remember what the one I had was called. It was a banana porter, a chocolate banana porter that I had from Southern Tier, and it was really good.
There's something to do with a monkey.
Yeah, it
huh?
was something monkey porter. I can't remember.
Puppy monkey baby.
Black Monkey.
I can't find the name of it, but
It may have been like monkey business.
It was
something
really
like
good because, as you know, one of my favorite local beers ever was the NOLA Tulane beer, which was brewed with banana peel, and it had that banana aftertaste. But this one was the same, except it was a porter. So I mean, I feel like the banana and the chocolate hinge just kind of went together.
Yeah.
Right on.
So when we talked about Rheinheist as far as atmosphere, Rheinheist was definitely the best. To me, I think Southern Tier was better beer-wise just because it had this caramel cookie stout. But those two were my favorite two of the trip. So yeah, one and two, they could be interchangeable. Like I said, Rheinheist had the better atmosphere, but I liked Southern Tier's beer a little bit better.
When it's kind of staying on topic, real quick, just about beer. We went through the whole top 5 beer list last episode, and obviously, I think Brash and Equal Parts had the majority of my top 5. I need to, when I go back to Houston, I'm gonna try to go back in June or July for family birthday time. But there's a brewery called Saloon Door. I brought back one beer for you guys, the I Must Break You, which had the really cool can with the boxing gloves on it. Obviously, an ode to Rocky IV and the movie with Drago. But I had 2 other beers from them, and I'm not going to give anything away. I have them for us to sample the next time we record together. This brewery might maybe not surpass Equal or Brash, but their beers are going to, I think, blow you away.
Yeah.
They're mostly stouts, although this cream ale, I think, Todd, you're going to really love it. And it's a peanut butter cream ale, and it's fantastic. I may have to do some readjusting to my top 5 list, depending upon how this goes.
Probably God.
You had me at blown and cream.
But yeah, like one of them, I want to say it's either the Fluffy Nuts or Ridiculous AF. It's a peanut butter marshmallow stout, and it's amazing.
That's probably good too.
I've only had their beers in can because I've not been to the brewery yet. But I think the next time I go, it's a 20-minute drive from downtown Houston. I'm definitely going to go there and try to sample beers on tap. But I think this brewery is going to just blow away a lot of the beers I've tried before and make a real good inroad into some of my favorite beers, because the 2 that I've had so far were excellent. They're mostly stouts, and they're all 8% or higher. I think most of them are, the 2 or 3 that I have are 10.5 to 11, 12%. And the one, like that peanut butter ale, I think it's maybe like 4.5, but everything else they make is 8% on up. So it's a strong beer, but they're so tasty. And I think I might have sent some of the pictures of the cans. The can artwork is really cool as well too, though. So I'm excited to try this brew when I go back, and to hopefully try on the next pod some of these beers with you guys and see what y'all think of them, especially for like some of the stouts and the peanut butter ale.
I wish we could have brought some of these beers back. The fourth stop we did was it's kind of like a Cleveland popular one. It's called Great Lakes Brewing. You can actually probably buy some of their beer here. That gets shipped out. To me,
I actually have the bottle of the Elliott Ness Lager sitting over there because I like the Untouchables, and it's a really cool bottle.
this one was probably if I could say, probably my least favorite beer wise. because like I had a pineapple strawberry wheat, and then I had their porter, and the porter was a little bit better than the pineapple strawberry wheat, but neither one, they were both decent, but neither one of them really wowed. The things that were their selling points, they had a good environment in there. It was a pretty large place when it doesn't look like it from the outside, but they have several different rooms. Like you can go down in the basement, you can go up, you can go off. They have like a little side room that has live music. That's where we were sitting. So you have bands playing, and then their gift shop was huge. Like they had a crap ton of merch between T-shirts and magnets and stickers, and it was just a lot of merchandise that you can buy. So overall, it was a pretty cool place. I just neither one of the beers I tried, they ever like really blew me away, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I had the Irish stout. I mean, our waiter, I think, had a tinge of autism, and he was a little bit, he was kind of rude, but I mean, he was, I guess, kind of funny at the same time. But
My question is, why did you default to autism?
Huh?
Or you could have just been a dick.
No, I'm pretty sure
You
he
really
was.
think he was like autistic?
I think he
dick?
was, yeah. But he,
And that's okay if he is.
yeah, but he brought me the wrong beer first that I could tell because I ordered an Irish stout, and it was I think it was probably the same
It was
one
probably the strawberry
that they
wheat.
all had. I was like, I ordered the stout, and he seemed like he was kind of pissed off. And I was like, sorry, man, I ordered the stout. So he brings me the stout. Stout was all right, but then I ordered the Elliott Ness Amber Lager, which I really like. But like Travis said, several different rooms. They had live music playing. Definitely more of an atmosphere place. Had a lot of merch. I mean, I thought the place was cool.
Yeah. Right. And the last place we went was actually we were walking to the Guardians game. They have a popular street and it's kind of like their nightlife street. It's called East 4th Street in Cleveland, and it's basically just bars, restaurants, and then they have a brewery on that strip called the Butcher and the Brewer. And that was just like, oh, well, we're on our way to the game. We have a little bit of time to kill. Let's go grab one in here. So we got one beer there, and I had the Irish Red Ale, and it was actually very good. And the place looked really cool. Like it would have been a place where it would just kind of like, oh, this would have been a nice place to spend a little bit more time. But we were kind of started to get a little crunch, so we ended up just having one beer and leaving. But I have no complaints there either. The beer was really good. It was Irish Red Ale.
Yeah, I had an albino stout, and it reminded me a lot of the coffee blonde from Second Line. But that was kind of the hint of coffee, but it tasted like a stout, but it went down almost like a Pilsner. It was very light. But I thought the whole atmosphere of this place was really cool too, because it was like on the inside it looked very, very old school. Like I'm talking like with like the white tile walls. I mean, you had to go downstairs to go to the bathroom. The women's and men's room were almost in the same spot. They weren't like separate from each other.
No segregation?
It was almost like you had to.
No.
Just
Every stall had a door you closed, and then like it was just a sink in the middle.
But they were in the same fucking spot. It was weird. Never really seen it before, but it was very.
They didn't have a third bathroom. Very discriminatory. I'm just saying.
It was don't worry, it was a white lady.
I mean, it is Ohio.
I mean, no family bathroom. I'm just saying.
Anywho,
The setup was cool. Yes.
I forget if you guys didn't do the Hard Rock, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
We
No,
did.
we did.
You did,
We
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we did that on the same morning as the Guardians game.
How was that? I'm kind of actually curious. I've never been.
I mean, we like it. I mean, all the adults like it, but the
Kids are
kids
kinda
get bored
bored.
with it kind of quick because they don't recognize a lot of the people in there.
Right.
You know, and even though it's called the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, they have hip hop artists in there. They have light rock music in there. They recognize some people, but I think they were thinking they were going to have more people they recognized, so they got bored with it really quick. But
You have to like kids. The people y'all like are still popular. You have to wait a few.
They're
years
not in the hall yet.
before they get inducted.
But they also had stuff for kids to do. I mean, they have this thing where you can create your own sticker, like for your own band. So if it was like a family trip, you create and they slap it on the wall. So like this whole floor where you do this is like covered in the stickers.
That's pretty cool.
Then they had this, I guess, where the kids can like kind of. It's almost like a video game where they're playing a guitar and.
Guitar Hero?
It's not Guitar Hero, but it's kind of like it.
Okay.
So
you're
they're
playing
giving
like a real instrument,
you have
though.
a real, you have a real
Like
instrument,
actually
but they're
playing
giving them
guitar.
like the music notes on the screen.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
So they had things that kept them occupied, but like you see, like when you're down in the actually museum part, they were like, "Oh, this is boring. Let's go to something else."
Yeah.
And I just had to keep reminding them, like, hey, we're spending a lot of money for y'all to be here, assholes. So, anyway. But, no, that was it. And, before we completely move on, and I know Sean said he wanted to talk a little bit about his Easter plans, I do want to touch on the games real quick. Cincinnati Reds, like we ended up going to their stadium on a Thursday. Maybe it was because it was a weekday game. I don't know. But we had $19 tickets, and then we were sitting like literally like 7 to 10 rows above the Reds dugout. I mean, it was nuts for $19. So, I mean, beautiful. This is why we like doing this. Like every ballpark has their own amenity that stands out, and what Cincinnati has is like almost like you see like the Natchez riverboat, but it's a riverboat up in center field, and every time a home run's hit, smoke and lights shoot out of the riverboat. It's really cool.
And behind the third baseline, they have something called in the little, I guess, concession area behind the third baseline, they have something called the brewing district. So it's basically just like a wall of taps, like almost all the way down the third baseline. It was cool as shit.
Yeah, a lot of craft beers on tap. And then of course I always, I'm a little biased, but I feel like the Cleveland Guardians progressive field is underrated. I don't think a lot of people talk about it. I think the outside of it does look a little dated, but when you get to the inside of it, I think they keep it up as nice as any.
And one thing I do want to add, one more thing about the Reds game. We packed Camden's Austin Hayes jersey. Camden has an all-star jersey for Austin Hayes when he was on the Orioles. It's the Seattle Mariners all-star game one. We packed it just because Austin Hayes is on the Reds now. He didn't play much at this point, so we didn't know if he would even be playing. But we packed it just in case, and he wore it. And Austin Hayes was actually one of the few players signing autographs before the game. Camden could have went and probably got it, but he was like hesitating. He was really hesitant to go get it. And then when he finally decided, I'm going to go down and get his autograph, Austin Hayes went back in the dugout. But the cool moment was Austin Hayes did play that game, so I was glad we packed his jersey. But his first time up, he ends up hitting a 2-run home run. And like to see your son, his favorite player, hit a home run in a city where he wasn't even really expecting him to play, and it was just like a big like dad moment for me, like to see my kid that happy. So that was a cool moment.
Oh, and look, tying into that, the Guardians game was for Carson's birthday, his present, and then his favorite player, Jose Ramirez. Not that it's a shock that Jose Ramirez hit a home run, but he hit a home run in that game, so it was pretty awesome. And then closing it out, it was 6-4, runner on, and Aaron Judge is up at bat in the ninth inning with 2 outs with a guy on. So you think, all right, this could go to extra innings because Aaron Judge could hit a home run right now. Aaron Judge strikes out to lose the game. It was freaking phenomenal.
Yeah.
So that definitely made the trip. But yeah, that's all I really have to say about Ohio. Sean, would you?
All I have to say about that.
Sean, would you like to tell us about your beach trip?
Sure. Yeah. So, what is it? We left Easter Sunday. That was a surprise because, my mom recently had different surgeries. She's going through trying to get this wound to heal up. She's got one of those wound vacs connected to her now, trying to get this thing to heal. So anyway, long story short, we didn't do Easter Sunday. So she's like, y'all can go ahead and leave early. We were going to leave Monday morning. We left Sunday morning. It was weird, feeling like, okay, we're traveling on Easter. Like, so used to doing stuff with family and stuff like that. But got out there about, first thing we did, stopped at Buc-ee's, because you hit Buc-ee's on the interstate right before you take that.
Boosie's?
Boosie's, right before you plummet down the Baldwin Beach Express and go towards Gulf Shores and Orange Beach. And, packed as usual. And but I went bananas in there. I spent at least $100 in there buying food, merch. It's been long overdue. I couldn't tell you the last time I'd been there. Of course, the kids are all bah humbug. They don't want to get out the car. There's even the big person in the Buc-ee's like mascot. People taking pictures and trying to get them to go take pictures, and they go run off and hide somewhere. And it's, of course, I'm the one that's into it the most. Sarah gets she'll buy the the nuts and stuff like that, and couple of things, but not like me buying a wall of, I bought beef jerky, bought, dark color, chocolate covered cashews, all kinds of crap. Yes, beaver nuggets. Some of that stuff, it was actually, I was looking at the wall of like, I think the nuts or something like that. And like people were raving, like some people ran up and like they grabbed that cherry maple beef jerky and was like, oh, they have it. And like bought like 3 of them. And I was like, all right, I guess I got to try this since people are that obsessed with it. And so then I started looking at the jerky. And
Cherry maple's the best.
there you go. So,
Hard disagree.
but I randomly, I saw a picture I think that Mike had shared with us, and he had gotten the cherry maple for something. I forget what it was. I don't remember how I saw that. Like he shared it in our text group whenever ago. But anyway, yeah, that place is insane. They even had a candle for beaver nuggets. Like, yeah, it smells like the cinnamon and caramel, whatever it is. Yeah,
It smells like beaver.
exactly. It smells like beaver nuggets. And yeah, I bought some various other, merch that y'all might see, in the future. That I've been trying to get me a swimsuit. I've been trying to get me some other things.
Did you buy underwear?
No,
Well, then you
bought
didn't do
a
buckets right then.
A banana hammock.
Thong.
maybe. But yeah, so after that, yeah, then our hotel was Hampton Inn on the beach. I don't know why that one. I think Sarah booked it, thought she was booking a different one or something, but it wasn't one of those like Phoenix complexes. It was only like maybe 5-6 stories high, something like that. And it was nice. It had a decent sized pool, a hot tub. The hot tub was a favorite part. It was covered, pretty damn warm. You could go neck deep in the thing. And, right on the beach. And both that first day, it was already like, I love going like when it's like the sun is down enough and you're not like cooking like a strip of bacon, you can go out at like 5 o'clock and it's still enough sunlight and then you can go to the beach. I mean, it was, for given April, it's probably the earliest I can remember of us going. We usually go like right around Memorial Day, but it was chilly, but the kids didn't seem to mind. They running in there and both days in a row we went, because the second day was the main reason we were going. Like the main thing we were doing on the trip was to go to I don't know why it's called OWA or OWA, the indoor water park that they have in Foley. And it's got a retractable roof. And
Wow.
you see, exactly. Whatever OWA means, it's almost wow. But
Old Weller Antique.
huh?
Go ahead.
Oh, well, or antique. Yeah.
Sorry.
Just like what do y'all said? MPC. That means Marathon Petroleum Company to me. But anyway,
And that means MPC beat making.
there you go.
MPC.
Is that
So
the
it needs some-
bodybuilding competition?
A lot of MPCs.
My Pony Club.
But yeah, it was pretty cool that they have a lazy river inside. They've got a whole kids area. They have water slides inside that even go out of the building and back into the building. And the only thing, it was nice, like saying the lazy river, it's like they had parts of the roof open. You could see they could close it completely, if there's bad weather. And so it's like you got sun like here and there. It's like that's like it's sunlight is enough, daylight in there, but you're not like right in the sun. So I didn't have to put sunscreen on until going outside, because outside is where they have the big wave pool. It's like humongous wave pool that you walk into almost like a beach, and that big old TV screen. It's like, I was just thinking it'd be cool if they played movies or something up here, but other than that, they had one of those like surfboard things, like the simulated, like you can surf on the water shooting at you or whatever. And then it had a theme park attached to it, because after they got sick of the water park, we did like a couple of roller coasters. I don't do roller coasters like that anymore, especially when they go upside down and twist you and shit. I'm just like, I'm good. But yeah, there was carnival games. There was just there's enough stuff to do to spend all day there. We didn't even go in the arcade. It was surprising. You think the arcade where they would hit you up for a ton of money just to win shitty prizes with tickets and stuff, but the kids
Dave and Buster.
well, we go to Margaritaville all the time, so. But they even had this like fun house thing. It's like sitting there, going through on like a little slow moving cart, and you have to shoot at targets and stuff. So it was
Pretty fun.
yeah, just seeing who can get the highest score. It's not like there was anything to win, but it was even the adults probably enjoying some of the stuff more than the kids, because you get to shoot at stuff. But yeah, it was a pretty cool day, and then go to the pool. The pool on the beach again. Not that we ate anywhere spectacular. We ate at some place called Coastal, and it was like right next door to the hotel, Coastal, and they had the AL because it's in Alabama, like featured. It's like was all over their merch, and it was like thought about buying a polo, and I'm like, why? I don't know. It's like the logo is nothing special. It's like Coastal with the underline with the AL. I'm like, I don't like.
Yeah, you don't want that.
I was like, I don't like Alabama that much. It's not like a Bucky's polo. I'm just saying.
Rainbow, Alabama.
But yeah. So then the day we were leaving, this is what we normally check out the hotel, but then put stuff in the car and then go to the beach and then bring a change of clothes so we can change like in a bathroom. Well, that's when that was like from 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. to 2 o'clock, and underestimated the overcast because needless to say, I got cooked. I was freaking red as shit. I'm still peeling like crazy. I
look a little tan.
Tell. But I'm flaking pretty hard in spots from that, and it seems to happen at the beginning of this season, like it happened at Green Acres last year, where it's like, oh, I didn't realize we were going to be here for 4 hours. I should have put fucking sunscreen on, and I look like a lobster the next day. But then what we did, the kids were obsessed with eating at like random places, McDonald's, Dairy Queen, whatever, and it's like we kept telling them we were going to go eat. But we said, screw them, they'll figure it out. So, of course, you can't go to Foley without going to Lambert's.
No,
So,
you can't.
So, yeah, we went to Lambert's, and, I haven't posted any photos. I think I might. But, I got the hamburger steak, freaking massive amount of food they give you.
Good choice.
Hamburger steak with white beans and potato salad, I think. I forget what else I
Fucking
got.
potato salad.
Yeah. And fried okra, potatoes, like some kind of like pasta with red sauce. It was like endless amount of shit they brought you. I mean, the kids, of course, like catching the rolls, and they go to town on it. The rolls with the apple butter, you gotta have that.
Apple butter.
And then I went to the gift shop and walked away with a stuffed roll. Last time I got a little stress ball roll that's got Lambert's on it, and they had big like plushies and it looked like a giant buns. I was like, okay, I gotta buy one of those.
Wait, was the stress ball like shaped like a roll?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's on my desk at work, and I tell people to touch my buns. That's what it looks like.
Shame on you for not telling the group that and asking if we wanted stress balls bought back for us.
True. But
I could use one in my office.
more reason to go back and visit, and because I brought like all the we didn't tear into the Bucky stuff, like all the food that I bought, until afterwards, and I still have some beaver nuggets at home, but all the jerky's gone, all the nuts and chocolate are gone or whatever, and I even brought some to my parents so they could try some. But asking Sarah, I was like, you okay if I finish these off? She's like, yeah, it's fine. There'll be more reason to go back. I'm like, okay. I was like, because she knows the one that opens in Mississippi June 9th. I'll definitely be hitting that one up. So I think it's where it's like past Christiane, wherever the hell it technically is.
Yep,
but
we passed that on the way to Beau Rivage.
Yeah, I think supposedly it's going to be the biggest one of all the Buckies, like 100 gas pumps or something. It's insane.
It's crazy.
So yeah, it was a short trip, but it was a nice trip. It's like, had a couple of friends from school meet us there, and so it was a nice little group we had, and yeah.
Good.
Oh. If I may, Biff, we haven't seen you in a while. How have you been? What did you do for Easter? Not to put you on the spot.
Pat's introducing me. No, for Easter, just hung out with the family. Cooked. I forgot even what we cooked. That's how good my memory is. But no, doing really well. I haven't been feeling good. And not delving in too much into. I was in depression for a while, so feeling much better. And but yeah, no, not much for Easter. I just wanted to talk about the funny anecdote in my house where my dad is screaming profusely at the TV, watching the Cardinals, and
He went there, Pat.
I feel his pain.
yeah,
It's not been fun. Not good. Not good.
I don't know how many under 500 they are, but he does.
They're like 3 or 4 games in there right now.
Yeah, I know.
It's not good.
And so But that's the funniest is when I've already seen the score. He's like, you want to watch the game? I'm like, not really. And he's like, well, do you know? Do you know? And, it grills me about it, But other than that, things have been really good. Working more at the school, music school, and got extra hours. So producing a few different records for people too, which has been nice. So, but yeah, that's me. No trips. We're going. Actually, my family's going to the Smokies on the weekend of Juneteenth, which is my parents' anniversary. Yeah, so it's their anniversary, and so they got us all that for Christmas. We're going to the Smokies.
Oh, very nice.
It'll be really cool.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So, look, Biff, the most important thing is we love you and we're glad to hear that you're doing good.
Yeah, doing really well.
Yeah, I didn't really want to throw you on the spot. I just wanted to I wanted to hear about what you've been up to. I haven't seen you in a while.
I know, yeah.
You've been active in the group text lately, so I was like, we know you're kind of around. So I just want to include you into the conversation of what we're all talking about.
I immediately thought of the Anchorman scene. I'm not prepared. And he pulls the flute out of his sleeve.
He did hit me with the thanks asshole look. As soon as I threw it, I was like, my bad. Bad teammate Pat here.
It's cool.
By the way, wherever that fits in, I definitely want to hear his top 5 Will Ferrell movies. He's like Will Ferrell, aficionado, more than I am, way more than I am.
Yeah, a little too much.
We'll give you a few minutes to think about that list before we get into it, but just compile that in your head before we we'll get to it at some point before we close out. All right. Well, I think we've got a couple of gear grinders we need to get through.
Yeah.
All right.
And now it's time for another segment of What Grinds Todd's Gears.
I'll go ahead and start with the gear grinders because I've got a few of them, and y'all may be able to chime in on this. But as you know, we intentionally left off the NHL playoffs because I didn't want to talk about the Los Angeles Kings losing 4 straight. But one of the things that aggravates me, and it has more so to do with streaming services and as I guess major networks, is I'm a huge hockey fan, and I'm able to watch all of the NHL regular season on ESPN Plus. But then the most important games that come around, and my favorite games to watch, would be the NHL playoffs, and then all of those shift over to TNT, ESPN, TBS, and I don't have any of those available on any of the stream services I have, which puts me in a weird situation because then it ends up being like, hey, Patrick, can I bum your YouTube TV account so I can watch this Kings game? So, I mean, that's the gear grinder there. Is like, why are we going to shift from, all right, I'm able to watch 82 games on ESPN Plus, and then all of a sudden the most important games, nope, you can't watch those anymore because you have to buy another network to watch this.
Nope, fuck you.
Because they know more people are tuning in for playoffs and stuff like that. They want to screw you over.
Well, it's kind of like what the NFL does with Peacock. It's every now and again they'll play a big game on Peacock, and it's like, oh, well, nobody has Peacock, so now you got to shell out extra money for that shit. So part of me wonders, do all of these networks have cahoots with each other, where it's like, okay, we're going to screw people here, and so then we can all make a little money. I'm going to get a little bit of here. Right. So it's that just really bums me out because I'm sitting there, ready to watch NHL playoffs, and it's like, oh fuck, I don't have any of the networks that it actually comes on.
Right. So how do you normally watch it?
On ESPN Plus.
ESPN Plus has
the whole regular season's available on NHL Plus, and then ESPN Plus. And then when the playoffs roll around, no longer on ESPN Plus. You have to pay for a major network.
Yeah, it's probably because of ABC is where they come on, or
it's TBS, TNT, and ESPN.
Right, it's all their major networks because that's how basketball is. All the playoffs have to come on TNT, or.
Yeah, but it's just a bummer because it's like you're already paying for one streaming service, and then it's like, okay, well now I got to find a way to watch this and possibly shell out more money to watch the playoffs. It's a bummer.
As Gaffigan said, they should pool all these streaming services together and call it cable.
That can't really be a gear grinder for me, though, because my team hasn't been in the playoffs for, 3-4 seasons.
So that's the first one. Another gear grinder that I'll have, since I'll just kind of keep spilling out here. Todd mentioned, when we arrived in Cincinnati, he mentioned the whole situation at the Hampton Inn in downtown Cincinnati where they did not have their own parking lot. So we had to pay $40 a night to park. But I started noticing, and maybe it's been around for a long time, but I really started to notice it last summer when we went on our guys' trip to St. Louis. Like every place in downtown area is charged to park. It's like nobody has their own damn parking lot, so it's either on a parking meter or even if they do have their own parking lot, they charge you additional to park. And it becomes very frustrating because you're traveling, you're already spending a shit ton of money, and it's like, okay, you got to factor in a certain amount just to pay to park. And, you know, I guess an answer to that is Uber everywhere, which you're still paying money for. So we actually chose to rent a car since we knew we were going to drive from Cincinnati to Cleveland. And that ended up saying, like, okay, well, every day we drive, we got to find a place to park and pay to park. And
So y'all flew into Cincinnati, then drove to Cleveland, and then left from Cleveland?
Yeah, we flew out of Cleveland.
Okay.
Yep.
So I know you can do that with rental cars, but you had to tell them that, like, we're not bringing it back to Cincinnati.
Yeah, we told Cincinnati that, and they said, okay, y'all dropping this one off at the Cleveland airport. So, yeah. But, that's another gear grinder. It's just downtown parking. And, again, I think the place that it brought the most light to me was St. Louis last year when it was like every place we did, every place we went, we had to pay to park. And then got to re-experience it, you know, this trip in Ohio.
I mean, that's how New Orleans is. We just don't do it. Like,
Right.
You know, we're not tourists like that where we're going from place to place. I mean, the restaurant we went to, it's 2 blocks off of, it's on Canal, but it was like I went ahead and parked at Canal Place, and we had to walk like 2.5 blocks to get there.
Yeah.
Just because it's connected to like the Wyndham Hotel, but it was like, where's the parking for the Wyndham Hotel? It was like, who knows?
Yeah, and I remember when we used to take the trips down the Bourbon, we always used to park at Canal Place, but I guess they were not like frequent. You know, it's just like, all right, maybe once every couple of months we would do it, so you never really thought much of it. But then when you're on a trip spending 4 or 5 days there and every single thing you do involves parking and you're paying, you know, extra couple $100 just to park your car, it's pretty aggravating.
Yeah, that's what when I looked up the, trying to figure out, okay, how do we get to this restaurant? Where do we park? And reviews were saying, like, talking about the Wyndham Hotel, they were like, yo, parking in the local garage just gets pretty pricey, but you are in the French Quarter, so it is what it is. Or, you know, it's like that flat out tells you they don't have a parking garage. Or, you know, you pretty much have to find parking wherever.
Yeah. All right, so like that's my 2 main gear grinders, and you know, I've mentioned this one in the group text. This will be my last one. It's really quick, but you know, and I think most of us will agree that it's okay to do a number 2 on the clock. You know, while you're at work, mine's pretty much a daily thing. And then I'll go in there one day earlier this week, and I go to sit down. Luckily, I noticed before I sat. But you turn around and look right as you're about to sit, and there's piss all over an adult bathroom's toilet seat. Like, don't even have the courtesy to lift it up and pee. So you just, you just go ahead and start going and all over the seat like a child. So basically, it involves me to clean off the seat before I can actually even sit on it. It's pretty disgusting. And to wash your hands before you go friggin' wipe your ass. You know, it's
The thing is it could be multiple people too. How do you know it's one person that did it?
Yeah, it could be mixture.
I mean, it's almost made me wonder that somehow, working at a school, did somehow a student get into a faculty restroom, or is just the faculty that fucking inconsiderate to where somebody's pissing all over the seat?
It's probably the faculty. I mean, there was a point at one point this year at my school where a faculty member was shitting in the stall and just got out and didn't wash his hands.
Oh, you already mentioned that one on here, but at least he didn't have to sit and piss. No.
But I mean, I think before we even started recording, we were coming back from the STCC, the St. Tammany Comic Con today, and we stopped at Chipotle on the way back because that's where the boys want to go. Camden and Carson love them some Chipotle, and I went in the bathroom to wash my hands, and the pee and the toilet seat is covered in piss.
What color was the piss?
It had an orangey tint to it. But I mean, I don't understand who doesn't have the common decency to raise it up. I mean, this person looked like they were aiming for the seat.
The least they can do is hydrate, right?
It's all over the fucking place.
But I mean, I see your argument, but to me, public restrooms are a little bit different from work because you're just kind of like, okay, so many people are using this. I probably wouldn't.
The seat was soaked.
I probably wouldn't have gone into a Chipotle bathroom and shit unless I absolutely had to.
I wouldn't go into a Chipotle bathroom, period, expecting anything but Diarrhea splats all
Unless
over.
unless I had some IBS and absolutely could not help myself.
I mean, shit, the office that Travis and I work at for our
just
private practice, his shit sprayed like everywhere all over the toilets.
It looks like that person.
And this is a fucking office building.
Yeah, somebody in that building has projectile shit and it just sprays out their ass, like diagonally.
All right.
Question.
This is taking the turn for the worse.
It really is. Do y'all use the little like paper buffer thing when you go number 2, or do you just hover, or do you just say fuck it and put your bare bottom on the toilet seat?
No, I use toilet paper. I don't know if many of the bathrooms I have the little seat protectors, but I use the toilet paper. I'm not fucking sitting on a public restroom toilet seat without it.
So at work, normally I will sit bare-assed on the seat because I trust that people aren't pissing on the seat. But now I might have to rethink that.
We have those things, the little pull-off like seat liner things. I never use one, but I probably would if I went in there and the seat was covered with piss or something.
Yeah.
Because they say like if there's little droplets on there and you take like toilet paper and you wipe it off, all you're doing is smearing it all over the toilet seat. It's like, here, there's little droplets of germs. Let's put it all over the whole thing before you sit down.
True, but you don't want to put your bottom on like wet spot.
I know. I'm guilty of it too because I would rather sit on a dry one than one with droplets all over it.
I kind of do a hybrid, kind of like Todd. I will take toilet paper and put it on like the very front part of the seat right by the opening, but I also hover. Mm-hmm. There are very few instances where I am like putting my bare bottom on the toilet seat, and it's one of them is at work because I trust it enough, and I've been there enough to see that it's for the most part clean. Plus, we have a cleaning lady that's there all day, so she'll clean the bathrooms multiple times a day, so it feels a bit more sanitary. But I'm definitely like a hover guy, and
I don't have the leg strength to hover.
It's one of the things you just kind of got to build up. I hover.
I mean, work up to it.
Yeah, it's like do your squats and learn how to hover. And then I'll also put some TP on the very edge to kind of, in case I do lose the core strength to hold myself up. I don't want to really touch it, but yeah.
I can say the dry toilet seat's not bad, but a couple of times I have sat down and the thing was warm. It was like when you know that somebody was just fresh in here, it was like, oh.
Well, okay, so that's usually me because I'll sit there for like 5-10 minutes. Yeah. If it's warm in our office, it's because of me.
That's meme time. Huh?
That is meme and degen time.
Absolutely use the handicap stall because I got the toilet paper. I got a little thing with the rails and everything. I take the wallet and the keys out of my pocket. I put the phone on the railing. Oh yeah, it's a process. Well,
my gym I used a handicap one because the one of the stalls has had a broken fucking lock on it for years, and they just don't fucking fix it. So it's like, oh, well, I don't feel guilty about using a handicap when this gym's too fucking cheap to fix the goddamn locks.
I did have that happen one time where it wasn't someone from our office. It was obviously a visitor or something. There's a couple other suites on our floor, but I'm in the handicap stall. There's only 3 of them. And the dude opens it. Oh, I'm sorry. Like, how do you not look and see my feet before you open the fucking door?
Nice dick, by the way.
I was just like so dumbfounded of like, you can easily tell when the door, like, because if the door, I get he's a visitor, but like the door is completely swung open if nobody's using it. It's like, how did you not know someone was in there?
Also, can't you hear me grunting and groaning while I'm trying to pass this massive turd? Dear Lord, I'm saying a rosary in the bathroom. You can't tell there's someone in here, you jerk.
I do like when you walk in, someone's in there and you hear them listening to something on their phone, and then it just goes dead quiet. You're like,
yeah, right.
Like, what were you doing in there, buddy?
It's like Seabass and Lloyd Christmas and Dumb and Dumber.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, if there's multiple stalls in the bathroom, but like I walk in and I hear somebody like going through it and like they're struggling to get whatever is in their body out, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna come back unless it's like diarrhea level. Gotta go. I will. Yes. Yeah. I hear the struggle. And I'm like, my man, buddy, you need your privacy. I respect it. I'm gonna leave and come back. I'm gonna let you go through it and take care of that demon. I'll be back later. I pray that you have courtesy flushed and sprayed if there's spray around, and at least cleaned up some of the fucking disaster area that you've left. But you're clearly struggling with some things, so you go ahead and take care of that in your own privacy. I'm gonna leave you be.
I'm sure y'all have all done the one when you go in there and you just going to do a quick number one and you have to hold your nose the entire time.
Absolutely.
Somebody dropped a freaking nuke in there.
And sometimes I lean forward to smell my own urine to match that smell out.
I always call it like it smells like somebody was running in there with a sweaty ass and they like shit, and it's I call it a sweaty ass shit.
No lie. I was in Lafayette probably a couple months ago, and someone was occupying the men's bathroom, and like, dude, it was one of the worst intestinal pains I ever had. And I tried to hold it. I was walking around the store like clenched cheeks, trying to like just bide my time, wait for this whoever was in the men's bathroom to come out, and he was just in there like he was having a problem similar to me. So dude, I had to make the decision. Thank God the store I was in was not open yet. So, and there were only I think maybe 2 female employees, and I knew where both of them were. So I was like, dude, I gotta risk it. I gotta go to the women's restroom.
Pulled a Finch from American Pie when you went in the ladies' room.
I could not hold this any longer. So I run in, I barricade the door with like a cone so that no one can go in, thinking like maybe it's out of order or there's janitor in there or something. And like I am unloading in this bathroom, and it is rank and disgusting. And then like right as I'm starting to like go through phase 1 of cleanup and wiping, the door opens. I'm like, oh. And like I stay silent, but like you can see my feet, and like I'm wearing black slacks, and I'm thinking maybe hopefully they think that it's another employee that typically wear black pants with a white shirt for the uniform, so maybe they think it's an employee. And like they walk in and they clearly got a hint of what I was doing, and they walk clean the fuck out. And I'm like, dude, I'm sweating, and I'm like, holy shit, this is not good. I get through everything, and like I clean up, and I'm like, I'm waiting for someone to come in the bathroom. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna feel so embarrassed when some woman catches me destroying this bathroom. And then like I hear the men's bathroom go, like the door open and the guy goes, I was like, you son of a bitch. I couldn't wait 2 more minutes to get this out. So now I go to the door and I kind of peek out. I'm looking to see is anybody around. If I sees me, no. I run out. Oh, that was the other problem. They ran out of toilet paper. So I got enough of a wipe to clean myself up. They had to run into the men's bathroom to do the finish cleanup and then walk out. And like my body was just so relieved. But that was one of the worst experiences I've ever had. It was like I felt so bad. I felt so bad for what I did to the women's bathroom. I'm like, man, I am a horrible, horrible person.
Have you ever had to, because of the toilet paper running out, have to scoot pants around your ankles to another stall to go find more toilet paper?
Oh, absolutely. I had to do that. Had this bathroom had another urinal stall in it, I would have had to do that. But no, I didn't. So I had to clean up enough to get to the men's bathroom and then finish the process and then get the hell out of there. I was so embarrassed and not proud of myself.
So quick stories off of that. Like one time at my former job, I actually had to wipe my ass with like hand towels because like they were out of toilet paper. And flush that shit down the toilet, and they tell you not to, but I had to. And then
hanging up on the rails.
And I don't know if I ever told you this when we were in St. Louis at that armory place. I guess it was because I was kind of drunk, but I actually went the way of the women's bathroom instead of the men's. And when I get in there, I was like, oh, this is weird. This bathroom has no urinals. So then I just start pissing and go, and then I come out, and then I realize, luckily nobody else was in there, but like when I looked at the wall, I was like, oh, fuck, I just went in the women's restroom. But it was crazy because they had like a shit ton of stalls. But anyway.
Hey, man, when nature calls, you got to go. And it's like, sorry for whoever's behind me or going afterwards. It has to happen. Like, what's the other option? Shit myself? And that's going to be 20 times worse than what I'm about to do to this bathroom. There's no other way about it. Sorry.
So Friday, I mean, I think the last episode we talked about the 12 Stones concert that Travis and I went to, and the 311 concert that John went to. I bought Jessica tickets on, what was that for, Valentine's Day, to go see Jake Owen at the Beau Rivage. And it was kind of a rush trip. You know, we looked into hotel rooms, but there was so much going on in Mississippi this weekend that the hotels were like outrageously priced. It was like the cheapest one we could find was like $300 a room. They had dance competition going on. They had a couple of concerts. I think Jake Owen wasn't the only one, and had some kind of crawfish festival going on in Biloxi as well. So we basically just drove up there, ate dinner at Woody's, and then went to the Jake Owen concert. And I'm gonna tell you, like I don't mind going to these concerts at the hotels because, you know, we saw Seether at the Hard Rock. They didn't even have an opening band. They just came out and played. Jake Owen, it was the same thing. He just comes out and starts playing. And it was basically an hour and a half show. It ended at 9:30, and we were on our way home. But overall, I mean, I enjoyed the concert. He played every song I wanted to hear. His set list was like mostly hits or well-known songs. He played every song I wanted to hear. So it was a very enjoyable experience. I just wish, you know, I've kind of said when I retired that the Biloxi area would kind of be one of my top spots. I just really like that area. And I didn't get to spend a whole lot of time down there because everything was kind of so rushed. I just wish we would have been able to rent a hotel room and stay at least one more day at least. Yeah, it was a good show. I guess one thing, though, that I've noticed, and I obviously you probably don't notice this as much at Hard Rock as you do at Beau Rivage, but one thing I noticed about the show was that there were a ton of older patrons there that I can tell did not know any Jake Owen songs. So I'm assuming these were probably guests that are frequent flyers that probably got free rooms and were probably just looking for something to do to kind of pass the time other than gambling. There was an older couple actually sitting to the left of me that I could tell didn't know any songs, and the guy looked just completely bored.
So like Russell would have been.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Jake Owen song?
I really like two of them. My favorite is Alone With You, and I really like American Country Love Song, too. Those are my two favorites. But I also like The One That Got Away and Barefoot Blue Jean Night, Beachin'. They're all good songs. He's hands down my favorite country artist.
The thing I like about Jake Owen, he's not like the more modern country where it's got like a more of like a hip hop kind of influence into the music. It's not. It has more of an older traditional country music feel to it, as opposed to some of the newer stuff, which is fine. I have no issue with that either, of being a bit of a collaboration of different genres into like the beat to it and things like that, though.
He's a big Jimmy Buffett fan, and he did two Jimmy Buffett covers while he was there, and he two different times during the concert he basically spoke of his love for Jimmy Buffett and how he was a big influence. He actually played a song at his funeral, so that's kind of cool. One other thing I did want to bring up about the concert, I mentioned we were talking about the Kentucky Derby, and I asked Patrick if he wore a hat, and I was mainly joking, referring to the women's hats because I think those things are ridiculous. But there was a ton of patrons at the Jake Owen concert wearing cowboy hats.
It's a country concert.
But I've mentioned, look, I'm not knocking them for it, but I've mentioned this before, Patrick. I've asked this in the group text. I was watching the Billy the Kid show.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think if I wore the Billy the Kid, like slanted, like cowboy hat and a vest to work on a daily basis, would the kids make fun of me? Or should I do it?
Do you want to borrow my cowboy hat for a week and see how it goes? It's in the car right now.
Have you seen you've seen the hat I'm talking about, though, right?
I think you've seen pictures. I think you've sent
Maybe a
pictures
picture,
I think you've sent pictures in the group text before.
But I mean, I think your facial profile, I think you could wear a cowboy hat, especially, and don't take this the wrong way, like how you have the right nose that would go well with a cowboy hat. It's got a good, strong definition to it. I think it would work well with a cowboy hat.
How is that?
Shut up, Biff. I'm trying to walk myself out of a situation that I didn't want to get into.
Let me speak my sense on this. Like working in a school, I think the kids who like you are probably going to be like, "Oh, that's a nice hat, Mr. Olivier." But the ones who don't know you are going to say, "Jesus, look at this fucking chode."
Who's this nozzle think he is? Jake Owen or
And
something?
you said a vest as well.
No, like a nice little.
Like a sheriff, like an old timey sheriff's vest.
He might get
Shirtless with a vest.
He might
and a
get-
cowboy hat.
he might get-
Wear that to
chaps.
work.
he might get shit for the vest either way, but
I
like
know.
the hat might be like
Why is this a question? Why do you want to wear this?
Maybe he wants to expand in
Because
his.
the Billy the Kid hat is really cool looking.
Okay, fair enough.
Find one on Amazon for the cheap and try it out and see how you feel it. Or borrow my cowboy hat for a week, wear it every day, and report back to us. That's your homework. At some point in the next month before school ends, I need you to wear this cowboy hat every day, or at least a couple of days, and report back on what the kids say.
But I'm surprised that you're surprised there's cowboy hats at a country music show. That's like
I
fat
knew
people at a
that.
buffet. It's like they're gonna be there.
Yeah.
Like camo.
But I wasn't surprised. I was just it kind of sparked that question though. Like, what if I wore a cowboy hat to work? Would the kids laugh at me? Yeah.
the ones who like you and respect you know, but the ones who don't, yes.
Do you remember when I was Prince Hans for Halloween, Biff? What happens if I kept those sideburns?
We
What would
tried to
happen?
drunkenly get you to do that.
That would be a little more normal. That'd be a little more normal than wearing a cowboy hat to work.
What if you just started wearing a cowboy hat out in public, like just like went to the grocery store on a Sunday? You do your groceries at Whole Foods. Could we get you to maybe try that?
Yeah. See what kind of looks like. You.
Film it and use it.
You could tip your cap while you're waiting for the meat behind all the blue hairs.
When the butcher gets his meat and weighs it for him, he's like, all right, that 6 pounds? Yes, sir. All right, thank you.
I got mine from the ranch.
Tip my cap while I'm waiting for the fucking lady to get out of my chicken aisle.
Miss.
You're like, thank you,
Howdy.
thank you kindly, miss.
That chicken right there is $10. Can you please step out my way?
Howdy, cowpokes. I'm going and get 5 pounds of chicken breast plates and some two steers and some steaks. I think you should do this, Todd. I think you should wear a cowboy hat.
I think you can pull
Let's
it
call-
off.
let's call-
I can see you wearing a cowboy.
He's got the facial makeup and definition to pull
That
a
nose
cowboy hat.
profile.
You
Fuck
got
you.
a cowboy nose.
I'm sorry I brought that up.
Maybe-
I'm not saying you have a bad nose.
Maybe we should get Grayson on here one day to talk about my nose because she,
I have a feeling, and you might have a great nose. I think Grayson's just going to shit on it just because it's Grayson.
It's Grayson.
because I keep telling Grayson she's gonna have my nose, and she's like, "Well, your nose like slants down. Mine doesn't do that." And I'll look at her in the car, and then she'll do this.
I mean, don't most noses slant down?
Some
Listen.
don't.
I love Grayson. That doesn't make any sense. I don't know. Whatever. Try it for a week and let's see how this goes. Report back to us.
It's my homework assignment.
Yeah.
But speaking of Jake Owen, though, we had a music event in New Orleans over the past couple of weekends, which was Jazz Fest. Did anybody go, or does anybody want to add anything on that?
Nope, didn't go.
Dylan told me Pearl Jam sucked.
Oh, really? Because that would have been the only reason I would have wanted to go.
And I was kind of bummed for him because he didn't like it, but I don't think he knows enough of their catalog. He's like, I like the songs I knew, and I'm like, you probably just don't.
Well, man, I heard it on the radio today that apparently, like Eddie Vedder, like called some dude out in the crowd for like putting his hand in a lady's face or something like that.
I don't know. He didn't talk about that. He just said the sound wasn't that good where he was standing. So
No.
Yeah, I have a couple of tidbits about Jazz Fest. For one, we had our board meeting during the week on Wednesday and talking about people going this coming weekend, and one of hearing things that like one of the guys' wives works in hotels downtown and was saying that like the news is lying. Of course they're always going to beef it up and act like they're 80 and 90% full when he's like no they're not. They're like 50 or 60% full. And says also a big kicker was that they kept the $50 locals only prices were good Friday through Sunday. Like that's like indicating like, okay, we need more people, and it's like, I'm just hearing him saying this kind of thing. And then it's like, honestly, this is the first year I've noticed a lot of people posting videos that it's actual videos of the people. It's not like a mile away and they're filming the screen next to the stage. You know what I mean? It's like, it looked like people got decent, even Pearl Jam.
Yeah.
Decent views of Eddie Vedder. I saw him playing a guitar in somebody's video, like dead on shot of him. It was like, I mean, that's cool and all, but it's just was curious. It was interesting about the, what are the numbers really for Jazz Fest this year?
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's hot and overpriced, and that's what always kind of pulls me away from it.
I mean, it seemed like no matter where you scrolled on Facebook, somebody you knew was there. So
We were close because a couple of like y'all know Mandy by now, and even Sarah's friend Christine, they were both going Saturday. When like I asked her Friday, I'll go if you want to go, and she's just like, I got Michael, he's got stuff to do for school and whatever, and we ended up not doing anything yesterday. I mean, we went out Friday night, but but it was just like, nothing, nothing that crazy about. I mean, my thing is French Quarter Fest. We went 2 years ago, I think, and I remember getting a couple of things at French Quarter Fest food wise, and then when Jazz Fest came up, like within the next month, they were raving about some food and showing off these things on the news, and it was like those were two things that we literally just had at French Quarter Fest, and that was free. I mean, you have to, meaning to go. I mean, you have to pay for the food, but French Quarter Fest, you just walk up. Jazz Fest, you pay how much for a ticket to go in and buy the same food? So it's
To go for the food only is like wow.
It was like one
crawfish monocle.
I mean, it was good. One of them was like, I forget the places, but one of them was like paella. It was like big old made on a giant ass black skillet they were making it on, and then another one was this like trifecta thing. That was like some kind of crawfish bread, something. I forget.
French Quarter Fest, right?
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. They were showing it on the news, and it was like, oh, look, the trifecta. You got to go. I'm like, I already had that. Like, I don't need to go to Jazz Fest to have that. It was kind of like, okay.
There's like 4 fucking bowls of that shit, bro.
I was sad that Dave was last Saturday or last Sunday.
Last Saturday, I think. No, Sunday. Sunday.
I couldn't go because of the Zurich, and I was working that event. But that would have been the big draw for me for the 2 weekends was to go see Dave. So I couldn't go to that. I had an outside chance to maybe go to Pearl Jam because some vendors at my accounts had tickets, and I was hoping to maybe get in on some free tickets for that, but that didn't work out. So I ended up not going for either one. But I kind of same thing. It's hot. It's pricey to go. There's a ton of people.
Yeah.
So I usually, if anything, I think Russell went on Locals Thursday. That'd probably be the day I would probably go if I could. Just that it's a little bit smaller crowd, not more intimate, but I guess a little bit more intimate than the bigger crowds on the weekend. Right. But yeah, Dave was the only real draw that I wanted to see. Pearl Jam would have been a good secondary option.
That's the only artist that I saw anybody post that was like not like up and close. I saw a lot of people saw Casey Musgraves. I forget whoever, Luke Combs, other people that like had great shots. Like they were up close. It looked like you could see the people that they weren't like a mile back, and it's like okay, that's awesome. But it's like makes you wonder about how the festival as a whole did.
Pearl Jam looked 50-50 from the people I saw. I had one friend, she made a post about being far away from Pearl Jam because it was just so crowded to get there. Yeah. But I don't know what time she got there or what the situation was. But then I did see some shots where the people were up pretty close. But again, who knows what time they got to that spot to stand and wait for Pearl Jam to come out. So it's always I feel like it's kind of hit or miss. But it seems like it's really crowded no matter what time.
Feedback is that it was hot as shit because we went to a wedding on the 26th on a Saturday, and it was on Bayou St. John under a big old canopy in the backyard, and we were sweating, and it was a little, I don't want to say it was miserable to eat, but it was like, kind of like, could we have this in an air-conditioned venue, And, yeah, and that was, Sarah's friend was there, and then she was also at Jazz Fest. She's like, yeah, last Saturday we were covered at least. Like, Jazz Fest, we're like sweating buckets. It was like right in the sun, beating down on you all afternoon.
It's that time of year where everything you do outside is going to be hot. Even French Quarter Fest, even 3 to 4 weeks before, was still warm. Not as bad as the last 2 weekends, but still hot. It's that time of year for us. So, it's just going to be one of the things you have to deal with if you want to be outside in public.
Yeah. As ironic as it is, they're saying like at the end of this week coming up, we're supposed to have like temperatures in the high 60s and stuff because of all this rain we're getting in the middle of the week. And we have a pool party on Friday at Green Acres for the end of the year school party. But it'll be 60 degrees and nobody will go in the pool.
Well, Sean, it sounded like you had some gear grinders about Jazz Fest, but you did actually have one more gear grinder you wanted to bring up.
Oh, it's randomly unrelated, but. I forget if I've mentioned like the Rocket Money stuff on TV, like the service that tries to,
I think you did.
it just makes, I sound like an old guy saying like, I fear for the younger generations that that these companies that run like Rocket Money are like feasting on, Gen Z, alphas, whatever, past us, that like they don't know that they're subscribed to things. Like the latest commercial, it's like, oh, it's like an interview thing. Like who's this guy and who's this girl that he's interviewing? They're just random people. And she's like, oh, no, I know what I keep a spreadsheet. I know exactly what I have, whatever. And he's like, let's just see. And he pulls up and gets her to do Rocket Money. Do you know you have 2 food service things that you're subscribed to? No. And like, those are my roommate or something. It's like, you have food showing up to your house. You don't know you pay for that?
Right.
Like, how freaking stupid are you? And
I'd like to know who's rich enough to not have any knowledge
right.
of the transactions.
Oh, yeah, that I've got.
And they're not going to look at it and go, oh, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
because it's also geared towards people that aren't like rolling in money. So it's like, you mean to tell me you can't tell that you've got Netflix and Spotify and all this other shit coming out of your account? Like, you're not looking at that at all to have any idea that you. And the way they're showing it is like these food service things were like, oh, $140-something a month. It's like, what do you, what?
Well, I know some people that spend that in DoorDash, right. But like my
no, you can spend it.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying to not know. That
yeah. The one that always gets me about that commercial is like, oh, I have 2 Spotify accounts. How does that happen?
Mm-hmm.
There's unless you use 2 emails, there's no way you have a double Spotify account. What are you talking about?
And that's the first part. But the ones that are killing me right now are one of them is Dave. And I think another one's called like Bridget or something like that. But these ones, like, it's the guy, he's in line at the grocery and he sees the groceries are getting scanned and the money's racking up. And then he looks at his bank account and it says he's got $4.18. It's like, how do you go to the grocery to buy groceries and you don't know you have $4 in your account?
Right.
And then and it says you can get up to $500 within 5 minutes. And he's doing it all in line, and they got like the people in line are like watching him do it and all these lights and and it's like, and he gets money and then he scans his phone and gets his groceries for like $80-something. Yeah. It's like, if you need this random Dave app to give you $80 to buy groceries, you're fucked worse than.
And what was the? Oh, it's also the fact that this is a subscription service, so you're paying to subscribe for this to help you manage your subscriptions.
Yeah.
How about you just be an adult and put a budget together and have everything listed? You're good.
I just can't imagine the Dave thing. So say Dave gives you $250 or it says up to $500. Where are you going to get the money to repay Dave? Right. It just seems so like, cheap. Like, it's called Dave and Bridget. These like random names, like Steve, like the beer. It's like, oh, this is Steve's app. Steve's going to lend you a few bucks and then you're going to owe him $1,000 when you pay him back.
Got to hit those street corners. Get that OnlyFans going and make that money back.
And it's just everything about the commercials. You can tell who it's geared towards. You can tell it's like the 20-somethings that don't know how to manage money. And it's just like, ugh.
Hey, you got to learn. But yeah, those commercials are ridiculous for what they try to offer and pitch and how clueless people are, quote unquote, to their finances expenses.
All right. Real quick, I'm going to change the
subject. No, just go ahead and close the episode out with your top 5 Will Ferrells.
With my top 5 Will Ferrells. No honorable mentions. I don't do that because I keep mine to 5. My number 5 is just kind of his all-encompassing cameos, mainly in Wedding Crashers and The Goods. If you haven't, did you watch that, Sean, that I sent you?
The Goods? Oh, no.
You never watched it?
I was like, where? As soon as you said that, I'm like, wait,
anyway,
did somebody mention The
Goods? Is like it's got a whole bunch of people in it. Ken Jeong wasn't even really like the star. It's when he was first starting out. What's his name that played Ari Gold? Jeremy Piven.
Travis, did you know The Goods? I thought somebody mentioned The Goods when we talked about Will Ferrell. No?
Maybe Russell.
Maybe Russell did? I don't know.
But his cameo in that, Will Ferrell's cameo in The Goods, was so funny. And he shows up multiple times in the movie. So anyway, I kind of put 5 just being all of his cameos. The rest are movies he's actually in. Like an act.
His movies, quote unquote, yeah.
Right, his movies. Number 4, and this is in order, is Zoolander. His Mugatu. I know it's early in his career, but I thought that character had me in stitches.
I don't think anybody had Zoolander on their list.
Well,
I thought about it, but it wasn't even.
I think maybe Russell did.
Did he? Yeah.
It's probably because that's what first kind of put me onto oh, this guy's legit, and then what even around that, actually before that one, was Night at the Roxbury, number 3.
Great.
I mean, we quoted that movie so much.
Is that your number 3, or is that just
That's my
one?
number 3.
Okay.
Night at the
Can
Roxbury.
get into the Roxbury.
Right. Just
Roxbury.
their back and forth in that whole movie.
Emilio.
Yeah. The Mighty Ducks guy, I swear.
The king
Anyway.
of 21 Jump Street, Richard
But-
Grieco.
But number 2 and 1, y'all probably all had. Number 2 is Old School for me. That was what really put them on the map, and like that ensemble cast was just like, I don't know. It's one of my favorite movies. I actually have a funny story about that. I rented it so much from Blockbuster when I was dating Becca at the time that she just like, I'm just gonna buy you the goddamn movie. It's like you rent it 3 times in the past 2 months, and I was like, I don't know, I want to see it.
I thought you were going to say Blockbuster.
It was
like, you can just
gone.
have it.
I don't know, Blockbuster is like, you paid $40.
Just keep
for
it.
this movie.
Just keep it, Biff.
And then number 1 is my favorite character by Will Ferrell, is Anchorman 1 and 2, including the outtakes, gag reels, everything.
Oh, yeah.
Like I love that whole concept. Ron Burgundy is like the most fun, like the funniest character that he does, I think, personally, just because he's such an idiot and like just says the dumbest things and like I don't know. So that's my Will Ferrell movies.
Very nice. Very nice.
No Step Brothers on that list.
It's
Overrated.
Honorable mention.
No, I love it. I honestly wasn't even thinking about that one. But I mean, it was. I might have to amend it, but I'm sticking with what I
Semi-pro.
remember. I mean, I know, Sean.
Well,
It's only a top 5.
well, until further notice, Biff is not going to amend his top 5, but when he does, we'll report back later. And on that note,
Wagons
out.
out.